Tell you what, of course, I don't tape them. I can't measure them. Charlie can just look at them, and he'd be within a half inch of how much it is when you tape it.
Yeah.
I just knew if he was over 20 inches and had 10 points, he's dead. I'm going to shoot that son, you know. And that's all. But I was, we were meat hunters, and that's what we was doing. And
the story is these two Mexican men that I met at a game ranch in Tampico gone with me, and Bernardo was staying on me like my shadow because he was a nervous wreck. He was, if I looked this way, he'd lean over where I was looking. And when I heard splashing in the water, the flooded areas out there by them two vehicles, I looked up and through the live oaks, I could see a Suburban and a truck right on each other's ass. Well, they came in, I said, truck, and I turned around, and I had the rattling horns in my hand, and as I came around, he was right there. I knocked him to his knees with them rattling horns. Just about the time his knees hit the ground, I caught him by the shoulder and picked him back up and stuck my mouth in his ear again, and I said, truck, run.
Run.
Run. I'm going to let them tell it because there's nobody in the history of hunting, in my opinion, that can tell the stories better than these two gentlemen right here.
This is the history.
We are
sitting with the history.
Ladies and gentlemen, a couple of legends, not only in South Texas, across the state of Texas, and across the nation. Their stories have been all over big podcasts like Hunter's Advantage, Big Honkers. You've seen them all over TikTok. You've seen their clips rolling across your feed, whether you hunt or you don't. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Cast&Blast podcast. Welcome to a raw and unfiltered fishing and hunting podcast. And we got a good one packed up for you guys today. We are the Cast&Blast podcast. I'm your host, Pinche Ben. Joining me is my co-host, Jimmy Trent.
What's up?
Joining him are our two special guests. To the left, we have Mr. Pat Lane.
Howdy.
And on the right, we have Mr. Charles Beaty, a.k.a. the Prince of Poachers. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special one for you today. We got these two gentlemen who are known for their stories. They're published authors. They got two books that we're going to be talking about today. But more importantly, we want to hear about the experience.
Let's hear it.
The who, the why, the where. And I'm going to let them tell it because there's nobody in the history of hunting, in my opinion, that can tell the stories better than these two gentlemen right here. Fellas, let's dive into, there's no better person to tell the story or start the history.
This is the history.
We are
sitting with the history.
Let's get into right now what we have in front of us. Ladies and gentlemen, a couple of legends, not only in South Texas, across the state of Texas, and across the nation. Their stories have been all over big podcasts like Hunter's Advantage, Big Honkers. You've seen them all over TikTok. You've seen their clips rolling across your feed, whether you hunt or you don't. They are unapologetic of what they've done, but they're also here to tell you that they've learned from what they did and how that has changed what they're doing now in the hunting community, because what they're doing today is sharing a story with you so that you can actually learn from those experiences, and they're going to encourage you to do otherwise. Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a reason. Pat, why don't you get in a little bit about the history of what is behind the person that we know as Pat Lane and how you got into hunting down in South Texas?
Well, like I said, I arrived in Foul Fierce, and thanks again for having me on your podcast.
Thanks again for coming, gentlemen. We're super pumped and glad.
But I got back from California in 1972, and I was in pretty bad shape. And I never have told that damn story, and I don't think I ever will. But anyhow, I laid up on my mother's couch for quite a spell, healing up, and that's where I met my stepdaddy. And him and my mom had got sweet on each other, and then they was going to get married. And that man had come sit with me because I'm telling you, I was on a sofa. I couldn't move, man. I had 117 stitches in my ass. Mm-hmm. And he sat there one night and he drew a picture of me, and I realized just how talented that man was. He's a credible artist.
Kind of like on, what was that movie, The Titanic? Was this?
But Wayne would sit there and entertain me and tell me stories about that outlaw hunting. And the more I heard about it, I'm going, God, and I get well, I'm going out there. I can't wait to
There was a draw to it, wasn't there?
Oh, yeah. It was exciting. And he could just tell one story after another. And it just made the time go by, And so, I got started young. I was 18 years old, but I was running with that posse, which was Ellis Mayfield and Wayne, his best buddy, and then a couple other fellas, Woostel and David Charnesky and Sid Minky, and I called them the posse in my book, because those guys, they done some stuff. And hell, they've been doing it for years. And my great-uncle Zenas, of course, he got there in 1906. And was over that fence, and I don't know if there's a man that's lived in Texas that's killed any bigger deer than that man has.
That's impressive.
That says a lot.
Yeah,
he had killed,
especially with the two men in the room that we have right now.
Golly whoppers, man, And like I said, he was my Daniel Boone, and I just used to love to go and just listen to him talk. But most time, they put me to work that first year. Ellis, Mayfield, Wayne, and Mayfield. That crazy dadgum half-breed Indian, he was something else. And he had a bloodlust, man. He couldn't kill enough deer. He just couldn't kill them enough. And it was first thing he told me, said, son, you got to drag before you can shoot. That's okay.
Yeah, that's pretty solid advice.
Make them earn it.
We was road hunting. But after I drug about 15 of his damn deer off, I said, Ellis, when am I going to get to shoot? Damn it. I've had enough of this crap.
I think we can all relate to that.
But, like I said, Ellis didn't like a human being on the planet except Wayne. He only put up with me because I was Wayne's stepson, But they taught me the ropes. And those guys, they've all been caught. Paid fines and stuff, But but back then, like I said, guys, it was so much different.
That's what I was about.
And what I need to explain to you is how come it was.
Yeah.
There's 257 counties in Texas. And back then, 151 of the counties told Parks and Wildlife that, no, this is a county affair. You go to the Justice of the Peace. They ain't dragging you to Austin and doing nothing, Well, hell, everybody's buddies with the Justice of Peace where you live there. If you're not, you're stupid.
So you're talking about if you got caught poaching, then
you went before the JP in the county.
Yeah.
And they'd slap you on the hand, $50, $75, $100, and you can go on about your damn business, And so it really wasn't a crime like it is now.
I will tell you a $50, $75 fine is a hell of a price to pay for a 200-inch deer. That's a pretty good deal.
Well, I tell you what, of course, I don't tape them. I can't measure them. Charlie can just look at them, and he'd be within a half inch of how much it is when you tape it.
Yeah.
I just knew if he was over 20 inches and had 10 points, he's dead. I'm going to shoot that son, And that's all. But I was, we were meat hunters, and that's what we was doing. And but I got real interested when I decided to finally write the book. And again, it was Charlie's doing. Charlie on my butt for years. Write your book. Write them damn stories down. And I got to thinking, all those men are gone now.
Yeah.
And if I don't write them down, they gone. So that's why I did it. And I was not going to compete with my buddy Charlie. There's just no way in hell that I could tell a story like that man can. He's an artist,
Yeah. Both of you men are wordsmiths.
Well, he's a taxidermist, and he can just paint pictures and put you right in the damn brush. You can smell the damn buck. You know what I mean?
Just an artist.
He's just good at it. So I wanted to touch on some stories, but I thought if I get lucky with this book and it goes somewhere, once you get out of South Texas, people don't understand those big ranches.
Yeah.
So I wanted to tell a little bit of history. So those first 9 stories are just a little bit of history to kind of how that stuff actually came about. And yeah, it's not like it says in the history book at all.
Someone growing up in South Texas like myself, hell, there's, we just so happen to be alma maters of Ray High School, fighting Texans, shout out to Ray High School. But, right down the street was that, weak ass school, Richard King.
Oh, dude.
And
my man's opening a can of worms.
I am. But the history that's in the books down there as you grow up down in South Texas is written one way. And I think that's what's interesting about you is you're telling it how you remember it, not how it was written.
Well, it's also not only influential only in South Texas. I was North Texas, South Oklahoma. And growing up, I heard all these stories growing up, you know. So it's not only that region. I mean, it's got a further reach than that. Oh, yeah. And that's what's really cool. I know the history. I know the stories that I've been told out of the history books, per se. So it's really cool to hear the other perspective, like the perspective that I think most people know, or they probably do know. They just don't want to, you know, commit to
like I said, between my grandpa Hornsby and Zenas Culpeper that got there right there at the turn of the 20th century, you know, they known people been there for years and years up to the Civil War on both sides of the river. And like I said, those people were deeply religious men. They were Church of God. And so I knew good and well. You know,
they weren't lying.
They got no reason to lie
they go to a dadgum kitchen drawer, pull it open, get a butter knife, and cut their own damn tongue out before they tell a lie. Yeah. They just wouldn't do it, you know. And so I knew it was true. And then I got feedback from everybody else. I get to start knowing these old timers, and I'd hear them same stories. Some kind of, I'd say, well, this ain't nothing like what I thought it was about, you know. And in that time when I was there, of course, that was about the end of the reign of Mr. Bob, Mr. Bob Clayburgh. Mr. Bob Clayburgh is the one that built that damn ranch and made it what it is today. You know, they can say what they want, you know, but he was the one traveling all over the world. He was buying land in Australia and South America, and that Florida, where all our side grass started coming from, you know. Plus, he was the man behind the quarter horse business.
And this was just soon after Texas become an actual state, right?
Well, no, he passed in the 70s.
Oh, I thought you meant, okay.
No, and that's what I was saying, but the ranch changed drastically after that, because then there was a battle. And there was a battle first between Bobby Shelton and B. Johnson. And they were half-brothers. And their mother was a Clayburgh. And B. Johnson's daddy was a cowboy from that on the King Ranch. And, yeah, I guess he was fooling around with the big shot's daughter, and you know, he got himself killed about a year later. And that gal then, she married a doctor from Corpus, and his name was Shelton. And that's where they had Bobby Shelton. Oh. Well, you got those two little boys in that gun mansion out there on the King Ranch, and they got no parents. And Mr. Bob's in and out and trying business and everything, and plus raise those kids, and they were wilder than March hares. And it was along about then, you know, in the 70s is when they bought them out. The corporation, it got strong enough, they pushed people around, and they gave those two, what I was told, was $250 million apiece.
Holy cow.
And said, get the hell out of here. Well, and they did. You know, well, Bobby Shelton went and bought 4 places out here outside of Kerrville. And then he bought that 175,000 acres up in Bozeman, Montana. And now it belongs to Ted Turner.
Ted Turner.
Yeah, Ted Turner owns that.
Pretty famous.
The first thing he did when he got that place, he just gutted it.
Yeah.
There's not a fence. There's not nothing in it. It's just full of buffalo. Huh. And he wants it, that Dances with Wolves thing. He's trying to get
that Yellowstone vibe going.
The only thing they built out there was a workout room for his wife, because his wife then was Jane Fonda.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Of course, that didn't last that long, you know.
There you go. Famous history there, you know.
Oh, yeah. But Bobby Shelton went belly up, and both the guys died young. You know, I think they had drinking problems and stuff, and neither one of them had the sense God gave a rubber duck. I mean, hell, as long as they had blank checks, they thought they had money.
Well, that's how they grew up, though, huh?
That's what they
knew.
That's how they grew up.
That's what they knew.
So when I went to writing the book, I said, I got to lay some groundwork for people where they can understand what that country was. It was wild as hell. It wasn't until 1874 that the Texas Rangers ever even crossed the Nueces River. They'd never been south of there.
Wow.
So just kind of lawless down. I mean, just...
There was no law.
Yeah.
Whoever was the strongest was, you know,
with the biggest bank.
And you know, that's already rough country to have no law in.
Oh, yeah.
That's lying.
Yeah.
But I wanted to put a little bit of it in there where people could kind of get a taste of it, not just to explain my stories, but hell, even to help Charlie, you know.
It's the background.
Yeah, you know, people, he talks about that Kennedy Ranch, and Bubba, ain't nobody knows it like he does. But that's 440,000 acres of the most damn beautiful damn place in South
I
Texas
love to
you
see
ever
it.
imagine.
Love to see it.
Oh, them live oaks that open up big breaks, and it's just beautiful, you know.
That's
But because I was raised the way I was, we were poor. You know, I come from a broken home. You know, I was about 11 years old. I didn't have a damn clue what happened. I mean, one day I went from the penthouse to the shit house, and
that's a drastic change. That
and
happens
my
real
dad
quick
was
in a hurry.
gone, and my two sisters, well, hell, they got married because they're older than I am. You know, it's just me and Mama, and hell, the only thing I could do was get tough. I had to. You know, I didn't have nobody. You know, and I knew by the time I was 14 years old, I was walking a tightrope without a safety net. So it's going to be up to me.
Yeah.
And I'm that kind of hard-headed that I'm just going to make it happen, you know. And I proceeded and just went on with myself. But I'll be honest with you, for the first 3 or 4 years, even by the time I was 18 when I got there and started hunting, besides the hunting and fishing and chasing girls, the back of my mind was Vietnam.
Right. That time, right.
Yeah, and I knew I was going to get drafted.
Right.
I wasn't going to school, you know. I was already working. Hell, I was welding. I could do a lot of things, you know. But I knew I was going to get my ass drafted. And I ran with guys that were older than me. I'd already lost one friend over there.
Sure.
And I had another friend that went over there and came back, and he didn't come back, if you know what I mean.
Can I ask you something? What was your respect and what was your understanding at that time? See, we come from a different era, you know, but we have such respect for the guys that wore the uniform before us. You know, Jimmy and I, we both served in Iraq and Afghanistan, but the wars and the conflicts before us, we have such respect for them, but we also understand you can't compare one to the other. They're not the same. What was your understanding at that time of your people you knew, friends, family maybe? I'd like to hear, I haven't had a chance to ask that here on a podcast. What was your understanding and respect for those serving in Vietnam? Because the country wasn't exactly behind that at the time.
Oh, not at all. And look at what's happening then. You know, that late 60s, early 70s, you know, it was peace, love, smoke dope. You know? And I mean, and everybody was just kind of blooming into this new era. And everybody was against the war.
Okay.
If I had got called, I would have gone.
Right.
It was my job. My dad, I got pictures of him in 3 different uniforms.
Yeah.
Wow.
My dad was in the Navy, the Army, and when they called him back Korea, he was in the Air Force.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, my
That's
grandfather
pretty
the
damn
same
amazing.
way.
Yeah.
And then that old woman of mine, my mama, that I still got, that's 103 years old,
Which is amazing, too.
she ought to be a hero. Because that woman worked in 7 different defense plants in World War II. She made bullets, ball bearings, airplane parts, all across the country.
That's amazing.
While my dad was in San Antonio pumping out pilots and navigators. Because he graduated in 1940 from college. He had a degree in mathematics, his teaching certificate, and he was a civilian pilot.
Wow.
And when they bombed Pearl Harbor, Dad said, I'm gone.
Yeah.
And Dad ran to Annapolis, and he graduated. I got a picture of him in a white uniform, and I still got his pen.
That's cool, man.
But then they traded him to the Army Air Corps, and they sent him to San Antonio, which is now Joint Base Lackland. Hell, he started the dang thing.
Yeah.
And that was his job.
That's what it was built for.
Pilots and navigators,
Yep.
you know. And of course, when Korea came back, there was no more Army Air Corps. And he said, Keith, you know, you have to come back over here, you know. We got you a new uniform.
Yeah.
So, I got pictures of him in 3 damn different uniforms. So my family's service was important.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
But I was scared to death because I knew if I went over there, I'm that kind of guy that, you know, just give me the damn gun and let me go, you know, because I just get out there and get with it, you know. And
Now, did you miss it due to, it ended right before?
buddy, I got my draft notice when I was 19 years old. I was in Foul Furious, Texas. I'd already had 1 season of outlaw hunting under my belt, and my number was 3.
Oh, damn.
And I'm going, I'm gone.
Had y'all met at this point? Y'all hadn't
No.
met at this point. Y'all
Charlie and
didn't
I
even-
hadn't met yet, you know. And I set my mama down, and I said, she said, what are you going to do, son? I said, I'm going to go join the Marine Corps. She said, why them? I said, them somebody should be in the middle of it. That's if I got to go, that's where I'm going to be.
Yeah.
You know. So you need to think about that. And I let it go by about a week, and somebody up there is looking out for me. That's when they stopped the draft.
Ain't that something?
That's how I missed. I just lucky. I've been lucky like that my whole freaking life.
My dad told me the same thing happened to him too. The same thing happened to him. So yeah.
Yeah, it was. But like I said, you get back to the book and stuff and the stories. I wanted to tell a little history where people could understand, because what you read in the history books, it ain't true.
Yeah.
You know. And growing up with all those folks down there, I heard their stories,
yeah.
You know, and like I said, ain't nobody lie about stuff like that. Lie about losing all their land, losing their family, people getting killed, women getting raped, all that kind of crap, you know. And so I wanted to lay it out a little bit, paint a little picture, and then start with my hero, which is my Uncle Zenas.
Yeah.
And my great Uncle Zenas, his stories, and his affair with Stout Jackson, who's world famous down there, man. He owned, how many of them damn Rialto theaters he owned? Kingsville, Robstown, Foul Furious, Haverville, you know. And he's strong, man, you know. And him and Zenas were exactly alike.
They were built different back then.
They were clean livers, you know. They'd go down to the bar, to Clancy's bar in Foul Furious, and get them a glass of warm milk and sit there while the guys drank beer, and they just tell stories with them. They didn't judge people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it wasn't for them. And in 1976, when Stout Jackson died, that man had 32 teeth in his head and not a cavity in one of them.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, that in itself.
So there's a lot to that, that clean living and stuff.
But that says a lot about the people, because a lot of folks that are like that, they don't want to hang with the people, you know. So they like the people, they just don't like their way. They got their own ways, but they're still with the people. That's cool.
Our society has changed so much. We didn't tell other people what they ought to be doing.
Yeah.
You kept your damn opinions to yourself.
Worry about you.
I do not know how many times my dad thumped me across the head like that. Keep your damn opinion to yourself, son. You know, hell, I learned, you know. And
well, we're building a chronological timeline here, and we're getting to a point where we're going to get into what you were doing around that time. But that kind of gives us a background of you growing up in, you know, South Texas, whatever. We're going to get into Charlie. Charlie, we got a chance to meet with you and kind of find out a little bit about your background. Let's get into where you were around this time. Like, how did you come up in Texas? And, you know, what were you into when young Charlie was growing up here? You know, I mean, we all weren't just born into hunting. There was something that kind of catapulted us into that. What was it for you that got you into just growing up as a young man hunting? You know, you talked about it, Pat. You talked about, you know, being a different time, and I say it, you got it. People were built different back then. I look back at pictures of you two guys when you were young, hard charging young men. Y'all looked like y'all could knock down a brick wall, man.
Yeah.
So, Charlie, tell us a little bit about your upcoming. You know, before you were out there getting and hopping fences and stuff. Like, what's your background here in Texas?
I grew up in Arlington, just south of the GM plant, and I got to building birdhouses. You know, I was good with my hands and lumber. I started metal shop, wood shop, both 8th grade, 9th grade, but I started building birdhouses, and next thing you know, I got my hands on a BB gun. I'd start shooting the birds that were coming to the birdhouses that I built.
Hell yeah.
And some buddies knew some fields nearby, and they got to move me down there a couple blocks, you know, to the east, and walking out in them fields with 22 shotguns, and we'd sneak them out there and shoot the piss out of stuff. Learned taxidermy about that time, and that's where I got my specimens, was out there in, you know, that field. Shot some wild ducks off some little pothole tanks, and, you know, some quail, and mostly just started out with birds. But
were you doing this in the attempt to get something to practice taxidermy on?
Yeah,
wow.
I needed something to practice on.
So your first interest was taxidermy.
Yeah, that dragged me into the hunting completely then. And, you know, I've thought through it all, being asked this question before. There was one night right after dark, me and a buddy were walking back from Kmart. There was a garage door open, and there was 2 bucks hanging up in there. That was the first encounter I had with deer hunting. These 2 men were in there skinning off their bucks they'd killed some lease, And I got exposed to it then, and I was just like, "Well, man, that's cool."
That's cool.
And man, we stood there and watched them skinning them deer back, and cutting the meat. That was it. That opened my eyes.
That was hooked you. That's what hooked you.
That did it. But it was just still a dream to ever do something like that, But I got into taxidermy, and my first boss that hired me about a year later, he took me to kill my first deer on a lease of his, and I shot a doe. I missed a buck, shot a doe, and it was on then.
Do you remember how old you were at this time?
14 when I shot my first doe.
Wow.
Yeah.
We'll call it first blood.
Yeah.
See, I was a year younger than almost everybody in my class. I barely made it to that grade with my birth, August 13th.
I was about to say you're born in August.
Yeah.
My son, same way.
But I got a job offer at 19, 5 years after I learned taxidermy, and away I went to South Texas. I didn't know it, but me and Pat were walking on a head-on collision course.
No way.
We met in January 1977.
That was it.
I know this story's out there a lot, but it's a pretty cool ass story.
Oh yeah.
One of y'all mind telling how y'all met?
Well, that taxidermy shop there in Kingsville, and it's very famous. And I've been going in there since, I was 11 years old, since my oldest sister married a Storm. And they always had stuff in there, and I'd stop in there and boy, an eyeball, and that. I just loved that stuff. And that's when I first met Joe.
Yeah.
Celso was there, and Fred, and then little David, he wasn't even, he was a kid still,
And all these names, you're just...
Oh, yeah, and we know them people, but
yeah.
I'd go in there and hang out. But once I started hunting, and I was in and out of there a lot. And there was a lot of dadgum outlaws come in and out of that place, believe me. And Joe knew I could get my hands on some scalps, and he approached me one day. He said, "Pat, you can get me some scalps." And I said, "Yeah." I said, "You show me how to take them off the head, right? And I can get them for you, And they sat there and showed me how to, take that scalp off. And I said, "Yeah, I can do that." Well, every time we'd kill one, I'd scalp him off, roll him up, put him in the freezer. Hell, I'd go to hunting camps.
Yeah.
They go in the locker room, they might have 4 or 5 deer. "Y'all gonna mount that big 8.3? "No, we don't want that thing." "Can I skin him for you?" "Oh, yeah, go ahead, Pat." I'd take that
There you
scalp
go.
too. And see, I'd bring those scalps to Joe, and he kept records. And then when I had brought him enough, he'd mount me something for free, and that's how I got to going.
Okay.
So, and of course, then when Charlie showed up, of course, he was there. They brought him there for birds.
As a taxidermist.
Oh, my God. Yeah, they wouldn't let him mount heads. There's 2 kinds of taxidermists, all right? There's mechanics and there's artists.
Yeah.
That man's an artist.
Nice.
And that's the difference.
We seen this deer that he done years ago, and they still look great. And I'm like, you got to be an art. You got to be good at your craft to keep it looking good.
Yeah, it was impressive. That was the first thing we noticed when we got in there.
That's what drew me to Charlie, because I've always, anybody's got skills, talent like that. I could not believe this guy could do what he could do. I've sat hours upon hours and watched that man mount quail. Seen him sitting there. I said, "Charlie, let's go get something to eat." "Right, in just a minute, I got to finish this."
Goddamn, I can't finish.
He's got a needle in his hand. He's sticking the feather, And I'm sitting there, and he dicked that damn feather for 5 minutes.
Talk about the patience.
And then finally,
I need a taco, Charlie. Let's go.
That's perfect. Okay, we can go now. Yeah, I couldn't even tell what he done, But boy, that bird
he could.
was beautiful. Oh yeah, he could.
He could.
But that's an artist, An artist he's got it in his head. He's visual. He's spatial. I'm not like that.
Yeah.
Now you show me a picture or something, I can build it. But you ask me to dream it up, well,
I totally get it.
You're gonna be waiting a long time because I just don't have that talent. But that's what drew me to him.
This taxidermy shop, it sounds like it was kind of a hub for outlaw hunters that didn't really talk. It sounds like there's an unspoken rule, almost a brotherhood, but you don't talk.
Well, I guess there's rumors going around, and people are kind of, alluding to the activities going on. But you guys had to get invited to get into this world, didn't you?
Well, Not really, not really. Those people flowed in and out of there. Now, Charlie knows every story there ever was about that, but we've kind of made a pact about not saying nothing.
Mm-hmm.
We're just not going to bring no harm to that man. He never did me wrong. And he's got a hell of a business, and wouldn't want to harm him or his son or his grandsons that are going to inherit all that stuff. Hello, Joe's, what is he, 90 years old now?
He just turned 90, I believe.
Yeah, But
so this is before you guys were actually hunting together. You just kind of you're introduced to each other. You know of each other.
No. I was 5 years. I had 5 seasons under my belt.
Really?
Before Charlie got there.
Wow.
And I was hunting with Fred. I met Charlie and them I'd seen him in that taxidermy shop. And Joe had told me, he said, that's my new bird man.
There's my new bird man.
He's my bird man.
Yeah.
And when I saw him out there, he was banging off that nail guy that day, and that's when we met, and we just became friends ever since.
All right, let's talk about that.
Yeah,
you said the key word there. I read it in your book, both of your books actually, and it's told a little differently, where Charlie was out on a road down there in South Texas, leaning over the hood, taking a shot at a nail guy, and that's when you kind of stumbled across him, and I think
I was with Fred, and I said, Fred, that's that damn new taxidermist down there working for Joe, And he said, man, right there on 77, he got a coat roped up and it
right on 70.
Boom! I said, man, he's going to end up in the dadgum Sarita County Jail. I said, let's talk.
Charlie's
to this
like
guy.
a honey badger. He don't give a shit.
Oh, no, yeah. Charlie ain't never been afraid of nothing, but he's also never asked me my damn opinion about anything either, And but I said we just hit it off then.
So you're pulling up on the road and you're seeing this man pulled over, and you see a rifle resting over the hood. He's about to take the shot, and right off the bat you recognize him. You're all like, "Hey, that's the guy from the shop." Right?
Well, I knew it was him
right.
because I recognized that old Dodge Charger years.
Okay, so now from the different perspective, Charlie, you see a truck rolling up, right? You see a truck rolling up. You're trying to take a shot. Now, what's going through your mind during this time?
Well, I'm busy hammering on that bull. I've done hit him twice. I couldn't believe they got on me without me seeing them coming, though. And when I looked up, it shocked me. No telling who it could have been. And immediately I recognized that Bronco Pat's. And I said, it's Pat.
Okay.
Get on out of my way. I'm fixing to finish this bull. Him and Fred were just looking at me like, you crazy son of a bitch. I just drove on by. And I put one under his earbud and dropped him. But, I had already hammered 3. I shot the first one in the shoulder. He runs off. I shot the second one in the throat, and blood was squirting out both sides of his neck. And the bright sunlight, as it ran off to the east, as far as you could see, just disappeared over the rise. I stopped on another one close, looking straight at me in this heavy brush, and I put one right in its heart. And it just stammered backwards like that, took it and turned and wheeled and leaped and run off. I went, they're immortal. I pulled up on the next one. I said, I'm going to break his neck. So I dropped him, and he got up and started stammering. I hit him again, and then he got up one more time after Pat got out of my way. Put one under his ear and dropped him. But
it's his fault you didn't get that third.
So these, while you're out there creating pink mists of a horizon, he's over here trying to get out of your way. You're sitting there taking shots at these nail guys. Now, after these shots, and you confirm, all right, I dropped him.
Yeah.
What happened next?
I went and told my boss what I'd done. He said, don't go after any of them bulls. He said, they're going to find all 4 of them by dark. Yeah. They fly 77 every afternoon looking for drug runners, illegals. And he said, they're going to find that one. And they're going to be laying on that one. Don't go after it.
You was pretty new to the area at this time?
Brand new.
Brand new. So you learned a hard lesson that they don't shoot off 77?
Well, yeah, but
you just got to be careful when you shoot off 77.
They're not saying,
ain't no difference in that road than any of the other ones. But you got to understand, back then, 50 years ago, there was no traffic.
That's true, and that's a big difference.
There wasn't any traffic.
Air
there
traffic.
weren't any cell phones. There wasn't nothing like that.
Yeah.
And you paid attention to everything, and I learned from those old timers. And like I said, there's rules, and you abide by them and you can get away with it. I'm living proof, I went 10 years and They never caught me.
Retired.
Did y'all know from that
And I
day on?
quit.
Did y'all know from that day on y'all were going to be friends?
No, we clicked.
Like,
we clicked.
Yeah, we just clicked, and he was married to his first wife, and I remember that day. He used to run from his damn apartment all the way to work. I mean, shirtless, blue jeans.
half the pictures you see Charlie in back in the
he was
got no shirt on.
Oh, he was a stud. You know?
Yeah.
And he'd run all the way to work. He'd mount quail all day, run all the way back. But that one season, he went down there to his office, had an apartment. He had a wad of money. He said, okay, well, here's November, and here's December. You better go ahead and take January here, too. He paid his rent up because he going to be out there in that damn brush.
Oh, that's hunting season, brother.
Well, and he'd already, had an opportunity to get in and get a look at that Kennedy through that risking.
Yeah, very.
And that was the key to it. I went in that with Kennedy the first time in 1972 with my Uncle Mule. But he was a drilling superintendent for Texas Eastern. He had a ring of keys you wouldn't believe, and everybody knew
Probably had more keys than he had locks.
Oh, yeah. And we pulled right up to that main gate, and the guy comes out, and I still got long hair. Hell, I pulled it back and had it pushed stuck down my shirts, I cut it off when I was 19. But he said, Mule, what are you doing? So I got to go check on my rigs. He said, who you got with you? He says, oh, it's my nephew. It's my Wayne's, my stepdaddy's brother-in-law. They call each other Coon Yow because they couldn't say Coon Yow.
Yeah.
Coon Yow,
Close enough.
Yeah, he big German, And we'd drive off and go into those different rigs, and he'd stop, and he said, I'm going to go there on the deck, check the tool pusher or something. And he'd always pop the damn trunk. And I never could figure out what the hell is he doing? He popping his damn trunk. Well, he got his hard hat and his slicker suit on he's supposed to wear, but he left the trunk open. And then I noticed them damn salesmen would come by. And those damn salesmen come by because he's drilling superintendent. He's a big shot. They'd be sticking bottles of Crown Royal in his trunk all the time. Yeah. He said, no, you got to leave that trunk up, Pat. The boy's going to donate some stuff.
There's business going on back here.
We got things to do.
But he drove me all over that ranch and just so many places that I got to see him for the first time on the inside.
What made y'all choose the King and the Kennedy? And I'm going to assume it's the wide open space, but it's Texas. There's a lot of wide open space.
I think it's a little deeper than that.
That's why I'm asking. I'm pulling that out.
Mm. Well, that's just where I landed. That's where those men hunted, and we didn't hunt the Kennedy as much. We didn't have to because we had the Santa Gertrudis. We had the Encino division there.
And a spotlight.
A spotlight. What drew you to it, Charlie?
I just wanted them the bigger the horns I could get, the better.
Yeah. That's a hell of a magnet.
Now the history.
It's hard. A damn addiction, buddy. It's addiction.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine. I think anybody that's hunted for as long, if you're a grown man, you've probably poached an animal. I'm not saying it's a deer. If it's a duck, a quail, a deer, or whatever, somebody has. Mm-hmm. But to be out there the way you guys were out there and hunting while being hunted, like you said, has to be more exhilarating than any drug on earth to be doing that. That shit makes me want to do. I'm not going to. Yeah. But it makes.
Don't recommend it.
Yeah, not saying that.
Not more. It ain't like it was.
It just sounds exhilarating.
Yeah, it's not like that. But Charlie, I read your book and you talk about in the beginning of the book how there was something that kind of drew you down to South Texas. They wanted you down there for your bird taxidermy and all that. That was a specialty of yours. And then they kind of sold you on the idea that you'd be able to get on the King Ranch and hunt it. Is that right?
Yeah, that's why I went down there. I was thinking about a big buck before I even left Arlington, but I got there and that didn't work out. And so I had to, meet all them outlaws. And once I did, they started inviting to take me to trade for some duck mounts. I was ready to go.
Were they selling hunts back in those days?
No. See, that's the problem. It was strictly a political game. If you didn't have cattle, association, oil and gas, you know, you were out.
Yeah, doctor, big lawyer.
So that the whole
somebody
hunting
that could do
industry,
something for the ranch.
the whole hunting industry, the way it is down there now, it was nothing like that.
They did not sell a buck hunt.
No, there wasn't. You
They
know.
didn't want the public to even see them.
There's that magnet pulling you in. Yeah.
Yeah, unhunted land. Yeah, of course, that was it. But you're talking about how much excitement it is being under pressure, being hunted. It ain't fun. You're pinned in a cactus or you're face down in the brush over Robert East, men all around you. You ain't wanting to be there. You ain't happy about it. You're like, you can't hunt like this, you know.
Yeah.
So when I found the Kennedy, all that live oak for cover, there was nowhere else to be. You know, it was safe.
Oh, it just set up better.
You got
for
in
what
there and relaxed. You got to enjoy the hunt. When you're rattling, you weren't looking for a man to pop out behind the bush with a gun on you.
Yeah.
But Robert East, that's about all you rattled up was men, you know. But in the Kennedy, you're just looking for the big one to step out.
So did they have folks out there looking for you guys all the time? When I say folks, I don't mean just on 70s. On the roads, did they have people in the ranches? Did they have cowboys out there patrolling or helicopters
everybody,
or planes?
you know, if you saw somebody, they was after you. You know, ranch hand, pimp, you know, King Ranch security, call the game warden, or whatever. They're all going to get off on your butt. The thing was, slip in, slip out, don't leave no sign. And that's the way I was taught, you know. And my typical hunts, of course, I killed most of my deer probably off the road. But I've killed a bunch of them, you know, on foot hunts. Somebody dropped me off. Hell, my mama, 103, she's dropped me off 4 o'clock in the morning. And I'd bail that fence, my rattling horns in a pack, you know, and get out there and rattle one up and get him killed. And then I'd suck him underneath a good heavy mesquite tree.
Yeah.
And first thing I'd do is I'd bring me a sandwich. I might make, if it was cold, I'd make me a cup of soup or something, had a little sterno thing, you know. Then I'd sit out there and bone that meat out, you know.
Charlie was showing
Wait
us
till dark and then come out with him.
He was showing us some of the pictures, you know, how y'all, you know, you just cook them up out there. But also, I seen where you mentioned you'd step over deer meat to get to some hog meat. Hog meat's a lot better. A lot better out there.
You get some energy.
Yeah.
You know, red meat's probably better for your muscle, but the fat in the hog meat will give you energy.
Energy.
Keep hunting.
Yeah.
You know,
To me, Charlie's most famous hunt was the 27-day hunt.
20s.
And you know, he would have stayed, if he'd had another 10, 15 packs of tortillas, he'd have stayed another 2 weeks.
That's all you need is tortillas when you go out.
He didn't have any carbohydrates left,
Yeah.
you know. And I mean, you can live so long on just meat. But then, you know.
All right, so let's get into that. Let's get into the fact that, you know, you were preparing for a hunt. You're outlaw hunting. You're crossing fences that you ain't got no business being in. You ain't got no business getting caught. And you got to hump in, hump out. Charlie, let's go a little bit into detail on what an average, like, adventure was for you. Once you jumped that fence, what was in your bag? What was, what did you prepare?
What
you know?
you prep? Yeah.
About 140 pounds, right, Charlie?
But see, that's what makes you guys so different is like, we all got hunting stories and, you know, you pack your bag, you get out there, you sit in the blind, you're comfortable. Y'all's stories are completely different. I want to hear
So, yeah, exactly. So when we go on a hunt, we're gonna plan it. We're gonna know how long we're gonna be out. We'll take food and water adjustment. We're gonna look at weather. We're gonna look at winds. We're gonna do all that. What gear do we need? But we're not worried about getting caught. When you're worried about being caught, that shit may change a little. That gear may change. You may sacrifice something you need for hunting for not getting caught or something. You know. What'd you prepare for in those long hunts?
well, you had to stay alive. You get out there in threatening weather, you know, get in the area, and you had to be able to survive it. Because, you know, I was stuck out there for days, weeks.
Yeah, without the accurate weather forecast and shit that we have nowadays.
Yeah, it's 15 miles to the highway. You can't even do that in one day.
Yeah.
You know?
So, Charlie, were you going out there with the intent of being out there that long? Or were you going out there like, my hunt's not over, so I'm staying out here?
I went in there before and had no time to be picked up. I go in there till I get enough, then I'm going to come out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, I could go to this store, had a payphone, and call a friend at that point and have him come get me. Like the 16-day hunt. I didn't know how long it was going to be. And I crippled a leg early in the hunt, and then I had rest and heal up.
God, dog, bro.
But that particular time, I started out of there on a Sunday afternoon, I believe about 3 in the afternoon, and it was misty and drizzly. And I stayed on the road because I was crippled and carrying a heavy load. I had a couple of bucks and a bunch of sheds, and I was on that road with the risk of being seen. But to make the walk easy the first 2 or 3 miles, and then it got dark, and I was able to come on out, and about 5 in the morning I showed up at the highway.
Damn.
It took me almost all night to get out of there from that depth. And
I had a huge risk of getting caught, but you did it out of necessity.
And you carried the load. You didn't cripple a leg, leave the load, and I mean you fought through it.
Yeah, I just had the one leg, my steps.
What happened to that leg?
Well, I tripped and had
Rolled the ankle, maybe?
I had a lot of weight on me, and I put a heel down to stall and catch my balance, and I stretched the hamstring back there behind my thigh mostly, down by the knee too. But
Before you was going out on those longer trips, did you plan the trip did you know where you was going to be dropped off, or is it you drive down the road until you find a good spot? Are you looking at topo maps, topographical maps?
Study maps all summer.
Yeah.
Pick a whole new area each year to try to work it.
Right.
And know the roads, We'd attack it with, a lot of effort, a lot of premeditation.
Yeah, landmarks, know the map, the landmarks, the roads. Yeah.
What was your practice on? Everyone knows the stories of what made it successful, right? But what I'm fascinated with, like, how did you cross off the areas that you didn't want to hunt? Like, I feel like as a hunter, as an outdoorsman, as someone who's out there, studying maps, and today we got all kinds of apps and all that stuff where you can do all that, but like the fundamentals are still the fundamentals. What were you doing to cross out the spots you didn't want to, whether it was that's blown out, this wind ain't right, this tree line, I'm too open? What were your methods there?
Just the safety factor, stay in the brush, because them open areas were dangerous. You could be seen from the air, the pull heat. One time I was out in some open country, spent the night, spilled a little too much gas priming my stove, and I had 2 men from Mexico with me, and I knew there was an excessive flame on the prime, on that little stove. Big yellow flame, coming up, licking it on. I was concerned with it, and I kind of stood around it and tried to block some of it.
Just that light flickering?
Yeah.
Yeah, you never wanted the yellow flame. You wanted to keep it low and blue.
No, I didn't want that to happen. I put a whole cap of gas in the dark instead of just about a half cap or less. And so I went ahead and got our coffee and oatmeal made, and it was cracking light, and 2 vehicles came into that windmill trap right in the middle of a huge oak area. It was just one live oak model around some windmill area. And I mean, I had this. The story is these 2 Mexican men that I met at a game ranch in Tampico had gone with me, and Bernardo was staying on me like my shadow, because he was a nervous wreck. He was, if I looked this way, he'd lean over and look where I was looking. And when I heard splashing in the water, the flooded areas out there by them 2 vehicles, I looked up and through the live oaks, I could see a Suburban and a truck right on each other's ass. Well, they came in, I said, truck, and I turned around, and I had the rattling horns in my hand, and as I came around, he was right there. I knocked him to his knees with them rattling horns. Just about the time his knees hit the ground, I caught him by the shoulder and picked him back up and stuck my mouth in his ear again, and I said, truck, run.
Run.
Run. We ran across 400 or 500 yards of coastal clump grass, track free, hit another live oak bar, went all the way around it, and come up on a big high point on it, 35, 40-foot dune in the middle of that live oak.
Y'all left everything at the campsite?
Well, we watched the back. No, we had already just packed up to go.
Okay.
We ran with everything. Well, we got up on that hill where I could see if they picked up our tracks and got a direction and come across. I'm watching this side, and I'm watching the back trail over here, both. We stayed put. We didn't have any choice. It was another 1.5 miles of grassland to the west.
Just wide open. You ain't going that way.
We had to stay put and see if they were trying to come after us on foot. And we didn't hear them or see them coming over there. They never came down my back trail if they were able to get around where I could see too.
Yeah.
And we stayed put till right at dark, and then we started out across there. We were coming out at that point, and we had one good heavy 8-point buck, but that was funnier than hell when I was turning around and knocked him. I hit him right in the jaw. I heard him clink.
Said somebody thought you were rattling, you were just knocking him in the jaw.
Yeah, he didn't get that close to me the rest of the hunt.
No language barrier there.
Yeah. So it sounded like y'all always took rattling horns out, right?
Yeah.
And as a hunter, you'll see on these TV shows nowadays a lot. They'll say, "Oh man, you better only tickle them horns from this date to this date." Bow face lie, huh?
Tell. I want to hear you guys.
If they're in rut, they're gonna come to horns.
Yeah.
And my deal was always, usually October before season.
Yeah, you can rattle them up at night.
I'd shoot me a good heavy horn buck and then saw them off and saw the tips off. Make good. I like a fresh set of rattling horns every year.
Yeah.
They just got a better damn ring to them. But yeah, you get out there and they're gonna come to it.
Yeah.
I'm just sorry.
Boy, they come up.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
and every other critter, too, huh?
Oh,
yeah, you
heartbeat.
rattle nail guy up and stuff like that.
Coyote,
yeah.
everything comes.
Everybody's coming and doing, what the
hell is
that
happening over there?
Yeah. And that's the way them little bucks do when they come. You like two big old bucks are fighting, and them little bucks, they want to see what's going on.
Hell, sometimes you look around, you see
Boy,
6 or 8 little bucks
they're
around.
Going, I don't know where they are, but I ain't going over there,
When y'all ran from that camp, it sounded like when y'all set camp, you set an expectation, if somebody rolls up, this is where we're going, or is it every man for themselves?
Yeah, kind of like when me and Dennis and George hit the Robert East. We hadn't been apart 5 minutes. George kills a buck. He'd already shot 2 180s that year, and I said, he just killed another monster. And he goes,
because when he shoots, it's only a monster.
Yeah, it's going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
And it was another 180 with 5 drop tines and 20 points. One beam broke off, and the points coming up off the break was another 7-8 inch points, about 15, 18 inches of bone broke off of it. It's still close to 180, but Dennis said, you want to go back and have a look at it? I said, hell no, every man for himself. Let's get the hell out of here.
Hell no.
Land, sea, and air.
He said, I like big horns, but I like freedom too.
Here came the troops, and George was pinned down there all day. He said, I couldn't even walk the 25 yards to the deer. He said, the noise started happening around him, and he just got down. And he could see the buck laying there all day. He couldn't move. He couldn't believe they didn't see it. He saw 2 men walk between him and the deer 2 different times, watching their feet going by. And they never saw him, they never saw the buck.
You brought up a good point earlier, Charlie, is, when I said that shit sounds like fun, and you said, yeah, till you're laying up in some cactus for hours and you can't move, you got no water, and you got that Texas heat just beating down on you.
Yeah, you got to earn, you have to earn it.
Yeah, like, that's a good point. That's the part you don't think about. You think about them big bucks hanging on your wall and how cool that must be, but you don't think about the suck or getting out there 15 miles out, crippling your leg, and you ain't got no cell phone,
Yeah, that's
not a lot of fun.
The second day of a 12-day hunt, and I had taken Dennis Music, Dwayne Kastner from Bridgeport, and we split up the first morning. And they shot twice immediately. Then I shot that afternoon when I butchered that chance at them big Boone and Crockett deer all right on top of me. The next morning, I shouldn't have hung around, but I was going to try to find that widespread buck. I thought I'd find him. If I waited till daylight, I could just get an eye on him and cut him and ring him and run. And I was listening to him pull helicopters down the throat of that clearing the whole time. I'm still running back and forth in that mock with the backpack on, gun, bow, rattling horse. I'm just trying to take one last look. They put a bird in the air. When that bird got up, I knew I had to break and run. It's going to be 400 or 500 yards open mesquite, dead mesquite, no leaves on it to the live oak. And then it was solid live oak from there on to the east. So I waited too long. I got pinned and hit a big ivy-covered tree trunk. Chopper went right over me on that first big circle and passed. But that morning, the second morning, Dwayne shit his britches. He had never, he's an outlaw hunter all his life. He had never seen that kind of pressure. That shit got real on him. Yeah. And he looked at Dennis, and he's just a nervous wreck, and he goes, Charlie was right. He said, I ain't never seen nothing so good that could turn to shit so fast.
Oh, man.
There were seven helicopters got up that morning.
God, dog.
It was war. It turns into wartime when that happens.
It's crazy for them to use that much manpower and resources for...
That's the cat and mouse game, man.
He knows why. Tom East is why.
Oh,
Tom hated it. A shot go off back there, it drove that old man out of his mind.
Oh, so it was more of...
Yeah. Well, yeah, and Tom didn't want anybody hunting, period, And
didn't care
the only
what he-
person I know that ever could legally hunt there was a doctor that come out of the valley that would make house calls.
So it's more the landowners than the law that...
Well, yeah.
I mean, you're not...
Tom didn't own that Kennedy, but he had surface rights over it. He had all of Santa Fe and all that stuff. Of course, Robert East had that land further west in Hogg County and everything else. But he had the surface rights. And that because he was related to Sarita Kennedy East.
with the history of those ranches, how they came about that we talked about, would you rather have been caught by the law or the ranch owner?
God help you if Tommy's caught.
That's what I'm thinking. Hell yeah.
Well,
I'd rather get caught by the law.
They'd been a couple of them yahoos too. You know, I never brought his damn name up too much, but Henry Timmerman was a mean, sorry son of a bitch. And he was head of security of the Encino division of King Ranch, and I hunted it a lot. But that man...
You don't want to get caught by that man.
That man was a federal game warden. Federal. And he almost killed a kid with a flashlight, beat the hell out of him, caught him outlaw hunting.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? He lost his job.
Okay.
Well, and the King Ranch said, well, shit, you're our kind of guy.
Oh, yeah, that's the kind of guy they want.
And gave him down there in Encino. I was 19 years old. I'd only been, this is my second season. And while I was by myself, I was just running down 281, And that son of a bitch pulled me over. Well, I knew the guys that taught me, they ain't got right to pull you over. They're not highway patrolmen, nothing like that. But I knew good and well who it was. And Henry pulled me over and got out. He said, what the hell are you doing? Right up down this road so damn slow. And I said, well, I'm just eyeballing wildlife.
Sightseeing?
Looking at livestock. He said, don't give me that shit. He said, you're an outlaw hunter. You ain't worth a damn, You ain't. And I said, Mr. Timmerman, sir. I said, I know who you are. You don't know me. I said, but I ain't that 18-year-old kid that you beat damn near to death with a flashlight. And that one you got on your belt, when I get through with you, the light's going to be shining out your ass. I said, you want some of this shit? He backed off me, and he never left me alone. But then he stuck his damn son on me. And then August, after Henry passed, his son August Timmerman became the head of security in Encino division. And I'm sorry, August was, he probably had about a 73 or 4 IQ. He's a knuckle-dragging Neanderthal sumbitch, 6'4" or 5", meaner than hell, But I in the book, you see, that one story, I put a rifle on that one. I put a shotgun and a rifle on that man one time. And he was convinced I was crazy. And he left me alone. And plus, his dad had told him what I had said. I wasn't backing down from nothing or nobody back in those days,
Yeah, well, both you guys were, y'all are some cock diesel strong. You look at them old pictures and you're like, a couple outlaw hunters out there doing the shit that you're doing. I don't think I would have. I would have been like,
you just never could admit that those guys taught me. You just don't never admit to nothing, You just can't,
Deny.
Yeah, because if you do, then you're caught,
Yeah, deny.
And you can't show them fear. Because once they get, they figure they got you scared,
So we've heard a lot, all these people coming after you guys. Who was after you more, the landowners or the law?
Well, it wasn't me. It was him. No, it was Charlie's who they's after, and George Moore and all them damn guys that were, in there killing them sure enough big monsters.
Now were they after you more because y'all were killing bighorn deer and y'all were killing for meat? So
no, they didn't know what I was doing.
They didn't know.
Okay. Hell no.
He was taking it with him.
Yeah. I never did what Charlie did. Right. I never took anybody in there with me on foot. Right. I wasn't going to do it because I ain't going to worry about some other guy making a mistake. I knew good and well what to do and how to do it. And I just wasn't going to babysit somebody out there doing it. I'm going out there and get my business done and get back out.
So that's pretty interesting because you had to be good at what you do to go in there, get what you need, get out on your own. You had to be really good to get in there taking people with you, huh, Charlie?
Oh, man.
How'd you decide who you was taking?
It just all fell into place, When one had gone, another one would get all fired up. I'll tell you how
I'm fired up, Charlie. I'm just saying I'm fired up.
I'll tell you how it went for the first cop and then the second one right behind it. The first one, he was all amped up on the way down there, and he goes, tell me how good it was, CB, how good it is, And I said, better than sex. And he goes, oh, come on now. And I said, you'll see. No comparison. So we get out there, and he kills his first buck. He said, you were right. It's better than sex. And that night, the first night after he killed his first buck, there's another buddy of mine, took another friend of ours, and they were on the west side of the highway. And I said, I hope Big Bride gets a good buck hunting with Dennis. And he said, well, if he doesn't, all I can say is he booked with the wrong guide service.
That's funny, man.
So we get back, and the second cop has to go too.
Oh, yeah.
And
Sure, his buddy told him
the rest
about
of that year, I took 3 more people besides the second cop, and they'd ask the first cop, think I ought to go with him? He'd say, I highly recommend it.
4 stars.
So, he became my chief booking agent. That first cop he booked 5 more hunts for me that year.
Kept you.
No, I wasn't charging. I just
That's what I was going to ask. Just taking them just for and for you, Pat, you're like, hell no, I'm not.
Well, it was diametrically opposed to what I was taught.
Right,
I was taught to go in, make no noise, leave no sign, get your critter, get the hell out, and don't let anybody see you. And if you could do that, you could keep doing it over and over again. And see, I had some places that kind of out of the way people didn't know about that I had access to. That Balawarty down there, south of, between Falfurrias and Hebbronville, and then that creek runs through that. That's what they call that, the Balawarty Creek, and it's covered in them oaks and stuff. Well, the Canales family had 20,000 acres right there.
Yeah.
And they'd let us go out there and hunt. We could hunt legal out there, but hell, that ain't no fun,
That ain't
know.
and, what good is that?
And I'd go out there because their back fence line was Jones, W.W. Jones. And it was in the back ass end of that ranch. Hell, there wasn't even any ranch roads in there. And I could jump that fence. I wouldn't have to go half a mile. And I'd go to Beating Horns, have deer all over my ass, And then I hadn't have that far to get it back out, and get the meat back out, get to my truck, and get gone. And like I said, I just kept my mouth shut. I didn't tell nobody nothing. I don't want anybody else in here. It was a honey hole,
Yeah, don't give up the honey hole.
Well,
man.
and that's the way I wrote the story in my book about once where Zenas hunted, and I knew where Zenas hunted. I've heard so many of them stories. And I told my stepdaddy, I said, dang it, I want to do that. I want to do it like Zenas did it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I can still see that windmill trap and that old tank there and everything. It was a perfect place for that old man. He'd park his old truck right there and then hop that damn fence. And he'd go back in there, and hell, he might go 3 or 4 miles, He was bull of a man, though. But I did it once and killed a deer, and the dadgum thing wasn't worth a damn, but I did it once. But I wanted to do what Zenas had done,
So you would get in, get out, kind of no trace, just nothing. Charlie, it seemed like you would tease them sometimes. Like you would get in there and damn near tease them, it seemed like.
That's coming in part 2. I went back, out of the cops talking me into going, but then after recovering from that bad divorce and losing my boy, I was pissed.
Yeah.
And I found myself lashing out. It just came out of me. It was hostility, anger, the injustice, and I mean, when everybody sees what happened, they're going to be cheering me on.
Well, we're cheering you on to get part 2 out soon as possible.
When it comes out, everybody's going to understand.
But
I'll cape them and drag them out in roads, It wasn't the game warden's fault what happened to me. It wasn't the ranch, but it was kind of my way of getting over it.
But it seemed like there was a cat and mouse game that not only I don't know if both sides enjoyed it between the game wardens and you guys, but it did seem when you look back and you hear some of your stories and you read the books, it seems like the cat and mouse, like it was almost
like cops and robbers.
Like cops and robbers, like you were, teasing each other almost sometimes.
When I first got there was a fella there. He didn't last a year. He had been there for quite a few years. The man's name was Harvey Shane. And hell, that's why they moved that game warden out of that country. He got too good of friends with outlaws. Wayne.
He got too close.
I'm telling you, they'd tell stories about Harvey, pull him over. Well, you guys out here hunting again, aren't you, and everything? And no, we're just riding down the road. Harvey, what the hell? And he goes, what time is it? He says, well, it's 5 o'clock. He says, oh, hell, I'm off duty. He'd take his damn badge off, get in the back seat with him, get a beer, and he said, if I can't catch you some bitches, I'll just keep you from killing them. I'll sit here and drink your beer. Hell, they put, Mayfield got mad at him. He'd stop at Mayfield and all the time feeling around underneath his seat looking for spotlight and stuff, if it's about that time of night, Harvey, get your hands out of my damn, dang, I'm checking, this is my job, All right, you son of a bitch. Next time, Mayfield put a rat trap underneath his car seat. And he pulled him over and started that going underneath there with his hand. And that freaking rat trap went off. Pow! But it got hung up in the seat. It didn't get his hand.
Oh, didn't even bite him.
He got his hand out of there, and you sons of bitches, I can't believe you would do that to me.
Gonna be a rattlesnake next time.
But Wayne and them, they was inventing stuff. Because they hunted out of the car all the time. You know what I mean? They was always hunting from the road. Wayne made he could take the air vent out of that one side of that car, and he built a boot that would go right down over the fender well of his truck. Mm-hmm. He could slide the gun right there. He had a hide for his spotlight. It coiled up. He invented all that damn stuff. You know, and you couldn't, back then the law said you can't have a gun and light in a car where deer known to roam, you know. And like Fred and I, when we road hunted, it was just completely different because we had our own little rules and stuff. We go out there, we checked that road where we was going to hunt, and then the next thing I did is I bailed out and I hid that gun along a fence someplace, you know, behind some grass, and then we go lighting, and we find that damn deer. You just pass right over him, shut that light off, and then we went straight to that damn gun, come right back. Flip that light on, break his neck, and I jumped out of that damn truck with that rifle. You know, because then once I got over the fence, they had two chances of catching me on foot. Yeah. Slim and none. And Slim went fishing. They weren't going to get me on foot. And they wasn't getting nothing from my partner, Fred, because that guy was stone cold.
Was that something that y'all made sure to do, is keep yourself in good shape also? Oh, yeah. Good condition?
He was better at it than me. I mean, that man, he worked at it all summer long, keeping himself in
Is that right?
So,
yeah, I would wear combat boots long about late August. I'd start girding them combat boots up as tight as I could get them. And I filled my backpack full of water jugs and buckle into it every morning about 5 o'clock before daylight. And there was a root plow out there where they just turned that field by my trailer park. And I'd just jog and heave and, side to side, front to back, and just work my whole core jogging out through that root plow.
Damn. Yeah, that would work you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I've seen him sit there and mount, I don't know how many birds, not a shirt on, frickin' every dead gum muscle in him just sticking up hard as nails. Just couldn't wait till the season started. Me, I was out chasing girls, I was an athlete.
I guess when you got a body like that, you ain't got to chase them, do you?
I was playing softball and stuff.
You got to run from them.
Oh, man.
But like I said, it was a different time. But when I quit, when I quit in 1982, I'd had 10 seasons under my belt, and it was New Brunswick, October. And I was up there doing what I like to do, is chase girls, with a friend of mine. And here come this brunette walking, and I went, oh, my God. I told my friend Buddy Strauss, I said, Buddy, that blonde's yours. Don't even think about that other one. And, hell, I was in love. And
how long y'all been married?
42
40,
years.
I knew.
42 years. Yeah. And I knew I was going to have to change my ways. She wasn't going to put up with my wild ass, and so I and that's when they changed the law in 1983.
So this is a pinnacle here.
That's when it went from being a C-class misdemeanor, a slap on the hand, $100 fine, to them getting damn serious.
So do y'all think if it hadn't changed,
when I walked away from it.
If it hadn't changed and it was still that way, do you think that there'd be very many 200-inch deer being shot nowadays?
Them damn 200-inch deers are coming behind them high fences and them damn minute traps and stuff like that. By God, they just not that many of them out there in the wild.
Free range, low fence, free range deer. I think had they not changed that law, I don't think that there'd be that many.
Oh hell no, there wouldn't be. There wouldn't be.
You'd be good. You might be able to get a good basket 8 at some point or something.
Like I said, Zenas had 10 heads in his house. I wished I had a picture of them. That's the ones he was the most proud of. He killed every one of them. I'm telling you, he had an 8-point in there that was at least 32 or 33 inches wide.
Good night.
And the dadgum G2 on that summit was 2 foot long. It looked like an elk, and he killed it right there on that Santa Gertrudis. And he appreciated that deer more than any of his best freaks or anything. He said it's the biggest animal I ever saw in my life.
Why is there so many big deer down there? Is it mineral? Is it something in their diet?
It's in the genes.
The genes, the minerals,
And the different time of year what they feed on, you know.
Yeah.
During them dry years and there's good mesquite beans, you have better horns, you know. Yeah, you just will. I'm sorry, you know. They eat that mesquite
those
bean.
deer down there, they look different than they do in North Texas. They look different than the deer in Central Texas. It's almost, it's same deer, but they look different. I will say that.
Well, and because their horns are so damn big and their bodies are not.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go up to Oklahoma, Kansas, kill a damn deer. It's 300 pounds, you know. And we ain't got deer like that.
You get a 125-pound dressed deer, and you're like, damn, that's a big deer. It's crazy.
So we're at a, I would say we're at a pivot point here. We're at a point where we're talking about the change of the law and how that kind of changed things. And for you, Pat, you know, you retired. You said, hey, it's not worth it. Charlie, you kind of kept going on, and I want to talk a little bit about that because I know you get into it in part 2 and all that, but there's parts of part 1 we haven't even got into. Let's talk a little bit about some of the big deer that you got. Now, they're in the book, their names, and they got, you know, infamous the pictures stories. And the stories. I want to talk about some of your personal bests out there.
Yeah.
Most memorable moments.
No, I'll let the biggest deer I've ever seen get away, you know.
Yeah.
And in the part 1.
How does that feel to this day?
I can still throw up over one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
I think we all got one of those.
But that, besides that one that got away, there was some that didn't.
Yeah.
And those went out with you, and you still got them to this day?
Yeah, I've got some of the old heads that I had borrowed some money against. And when I turned in all my heads at that one point and went to church 6 years, you know, those 6 heads were in hock, you know. I got them back after everything with the church and on the divorce. Well, the same 6 years that I was not poaching, he had quit. So we were both not doing it anymore. And then in 1989, when the cops talked me into going back, is when it started again.
Cops talked me into going back.
It's almost it sounds unbelievable, but that's why we're here.
One more time, Charlie. One more time.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cops talked you into it, huh?
Yeah.
So you laid it down for a while, and I mean, I guess I get it, man. Were they retired cops or still on the job?
No, they're active.
Oh, well, maybe I don't get it then. Never mind.
He was in uniform on duty when he talked me into taking him. He said, and I told him we needed 4 full days, not 2. He had 2 coming starting the next day. And he said, let me go talk to my chief, see if I can get the extra 2 days. He leaves my shop in a uniform and squad car. He comes back in about an hour in his truck. And he goes, I got the 2 extra days. Let's go. And I said, well, you called my bluff. You know?
Yeah. You were kind of riding it off like, hey, he ain't gonna get the time.
There was no way I would have took him on a 2-day hunt. That was not possible.
What made you want to take people out?
Well, I'd always done that in the past. And it was more fun to me at a point to watch them kill a big deer.
Yeah.
They hadn't done it. They'd go nuts, and I'd watch them, and, you know, like somebody.
People don't know that, man. He's got a heart of gold.
Yeah,
And, you know, and he, like I said, he got as much kick out of taking those guys in there and letting them kill the deer.
That's like us. I mean,
himself,
that's what God and we would do. I don't know, 160, 70, 180-inch deer all over our lease. And we stare at them all the time. We'd never shoot them because we like taking people out to
especially a father-son or you know.
And it wasn't high fence, free range, slow fence. So we don't do the high.
You know, I drew the line at a point. When I went back in part 2, you'll see this. I'm taking a world-renowned hunting consultant, and I'm taking his son with us. And he kind of horned in on the pick of the rut. And I was after a dream buck in the brush.
And this is them being dropped off with you and y'all going in, right?
And so I looked at him after I thought it all over. He kind of pushed me to let him go ahead and go with me. I said, this is my prime time. I'm fixing to be alone and kill my dream buck in the brush. And we got in there after he pushed me into taking him. And I said, Fred, I want to tell you something. I said, I spent my whole life chasing these big deer, and I'm figuring we're going to kill a 200-plus inch deer in this ranch. I was going to shoot him myself. You know, no telling what kind of horns, drops, whatever. A lot of multi-point deer in that ranch, too. And I said, I just want you to know right now, you shoot my dream buck out from under me like this, and I said, I'm going to be moving in your house when we get back.
I'll leave your ass here.
He said, no, wait a minute, I got enough dependents, Charlie. And I said, you didn't hear what I just said. I said, you will be moving out. I will be moving in. That will be my house.
Oh, man.
And you meant every word.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think he got the point, too.
Yeah. That's funny.
So let's talk about Big John, man. I love the story behind that because it's such a famous when everyone talks about Charles Beaty and his book and it's on the cover. Here it is in the background right there.
Yeah, John just was meant to be.
It just happened.
It was my turn. I had already taken some friends, and they killed great bucks first day of December. George, I took him. He killed the scarecrow on the 7th. I go back on the 13th and 14th. It was my turn. I killed Big John that day.
And is this a deer that you've been tracking?
Yeah, have you seen it, known about him, a known deer?
No idea he was there and what he looked like.
Wow.
And you had that feeling when you went on. What did you think when that deer stood? Did he come in rattling horns?
Yeah, I found a big scrape.
Yep.
And my buddy Brendan just shot a buck about 700-800 yards down the fence. It was a club, heavy, 10-point, but short time. And it was my turn, like I said.
My turn.
We walked up on this huge scrape. It was nearly as big as this room.
Wow.
And an oak,
Territorial scrape.
A live oak tree about 5-6 inches in diameter, just mauled, just bushy at both ends. I mean, I knew, and I looked in that scrape, and there was a piss puddle.
Mm-hmm.
And
fresh.
2 little old Susie Q stamps and a sprinkle of pellets. I looked at him and I said, damn, right here. And it was raining off and on, pretty heavy intermittent drizzle. And we had ponchos then. That's how we stayed dry. We'd wear them Mexican ponchos, you get your arms out the short side and keep the gun under it to keep the scope from watering up. And beat the bone, what looked like a 5 or 6 point come under the fence. You could just, as we sat down, I realized I could see the fence in breaks. And so this little buck comes under the fence immediately, and he runs down there, pedals down there, and smells the ground. He knew there was a little scrape right there, and he smelled the ground for a sign, threw his head up and starts looking around. Well, I popped the horns again, and when I did, he got a little nervous about it. It shook him up. And then he threw his head over this way and saw Big John in midair. When I looked where he was looking, I saw John in midair clearing the fence. I knew first thought I had, I was looking at the typical side and all that weight and all. My favorite buck of all time has always been the Jordan buck. And that's what he looked like to me.
Yeah.
On those smaller body deer, that big mass.
Yeah.
And I went, Boone and Crockett. In my mind, I just heard the words, and he landed and pedaled up. His rack was so heavy, he waddled up to that spot. Of course, that little buck just took off. He didn't want nothing to do with John. He was like, oh, shit. He just took off. John pedaled right up to that same spot where he had stood, smelled the ground too. And then when he raised up, I got to witness the most awesome display of power in a big buck I've ever seen. He was throwing that rack around like a feather on his head, and his ears were flipping back and forth like something the U.S. military doesn't have for radar.
Yeah.
I mean, he was so damn
And your
keen.
heart's is beating.
Yeah, and I couldn't see to shoot. But then I got to thinking, I'm going to have to break his hip. And he started looking up our way and was looking like an old owl. He was doing this owl with his head and neck, He couldn't make us out. We're down on our butts on the ground, and we probably weren't this tall total. Them ponchos, we just looked like tents.
Yeah.
He couldn't get an
He knew
outline.
someone right, but
The
couldn't
shadow
figure
of
it out.
those hoods and all, he couldn't see the white of our eyes either, probably. But he was alerted he went from aggressive to caution, just in a heartbeat. But he knew something wasn't right about what he was looking at. And Brent thought I wanted it to rattle for me.
Uh-oh.
And he started reaching for the horns, and we were sitting about this far apart. And he grabbed one horn, and I went, no, like, don't move him. And I knew I had to shoot him in the hip before Brent hit the horns, or he was going to make him move. So I got on him, and I started squeezing on the hip. The weight started coming out of the trigger, and I hear clack, hits the horns. And I jumped off the trigger, boy, and he pedaled up around. He actually came to the click of the horns. And when he rounded 2 or 3 more live oaks and saw us, he just hit the brakes in a full sneak. I got back the scope, touched it off right down the middle, shot him down the front. And I just jumped up and threw that poncho out of my way and bolted in another shell. And Brent said, you better shoot him again. And he came by me, and his old tail was just in that death spin. I just put the gun back down and watched him hit the dirt.
And
crash.
just sat there like, oh, shit, that just happened.
I went over there hooting and hollering,
Yeah.
And he come moping up, had the bottom lip hanging out, and I said, "What's the matter, Brent? Don't you think he's good?" And he goes, "Yeah, I just wished he was mine." I said, "Well, get the camera out." And he goes, "I can't get the camera out in this rain. It'll get wet." And I said, "Well, either you get the camera out and take some pictures, or I'll take some pictures after I kick your ass."
He says CB got his B and C today.
I was going to have pictures with that deer.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Why, you know?
And I tell you something else
Such a
about
heavy
that
horn.
deer. Because I remember when he killed him, he come to Foul Furious. And because he's going to come show me that rack of horns.
Yeah.
And Ellis Mayfield was pulled up in the front of our house, and Wayne was sitting out there with him. They was probably sipping on some liquor or something like that. And Charlie came out, and he handed him that set of horns. And you got to understand, Ellis Mayfield was a sorry, mean son of a bitch. He didn't like nobody. But by God, he bragged on Charlie and that deer. He said, "I've never seen one that heavy come out of there."
Yeah, that's a heavy deer.
Didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I remember. I can still see Ellis holding that rack of horns going, damn.
All them burrs on it. I bet. Did you ever see any of the rub lines that were around there?
That
I
one
bet
big rub on that scrape was it.
That was it, huh?
You know, I've always wished I should have gone back and searched that area for his previous sheds.
Yeah.
You know, but in there's so many pack rats. I don't care how big and how heavy the squirrels.
Well, they gonna chew on
they
them.
chew those sheds up quick down there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I have found sheds in a pack rat den. They wedge it in there like a beaver and just save it for winter. They lock it up where something can't drag it off.
Yeah.
And they'll chew on it during the winter.
So you used to pull sheds out with you all the time too. So you'd find a good set of sheds, and you'd pack them up and take them with you.
Yeah, you get to a point, you go, time to start culling some of these sheds, and so you pour them all out and look back through there and chunk that one, chunk that one, chunk that one.
That's so hard to do. I have a shit ton of sheds too, and my wife wants me to get rid of them, but I'm like, every one of these has a story.
Yeah.
I got 10 miles under my feet for each one of these damn
Yeah.
things. Like,
So damn near put one through my foot.
yeah.
Hell, it's a big sport now to a lot of
Oh,
guys.
huge, yeah.
They'll go shed hunting after season and everything, you know.
I do it. I just love to be out in the woods and walk in the woods, so I just run out shed hunting.
So let's talk a little bit about how the sport has changed. You know, you guys are talking about, at one point it was outlaw hunting, but you guys are outdoorsmen. You're hunting. Jimmy and I were fascinated with your outdoorsmanship. Well, how keen you had to be to be successful to take that big of a deer. You had to be a good hunter. But now we're talking about adding the like Jimmy said,
The woodsmanship
yeah.
to it. That's what has always interested me. Like I said, I grew up thinking I was going to be Daniel Boone or Davy Crockett out in the middle of nowhere of the woods. And I heard stories about outlaw hunting down in South Texas, which at the time I didn't know it was you guys. And now I'm sitting here with you. So it's pretty badass. But like hearing those stories as a kid growing up out in the woods, that's what I just wanted to hone my woodsmanship, not even knowing woodsmanship, my just being out in the woods, but hearing those stories because I thought I wanted to do that, outlaw hunting, right? So would you say that the woodsmanship of what you guys were doing is probably a little superior than your normal bow hunter climbing up in a damn tree stand, you know? And I know that y'all hunted two different styles, two different ways.
Well,
but
once I was in there, I was hunting like him, but
Yeah,
I was moving.
once-
You know,
right.
I was going to work an area, then I'm gonna move. I might move a half mile or so. You know, find something interesting, I'd rattle again. You know, but I don't know. Woodsmanship is just, buddy. You just had to pay attention all the time. You had to be aware. You know, and I was listening not just for the game. Man, I was listening for a truck or
Trucks and
something
people,
like that.
it's-
Yeah,
God,
you
that's
know.
such a different
That's what I'm saying
aspect
is
of
different.
hunting.
And you know, boy, I'd hear a truck engine and I'd get my ass covered up, buddy. You know, but
Yeah.
I'd get myself someplace where I knew
not to
I
mention
could slip and go the other way.
the
you know.
camo and the gear nowadays is a hell of a lot better than it was then, I'm sure.
No. Well, hell, I never took a camera. You know, so
No camo, like the camouflage
camo. Oh, yeah.
and the gear that they have nowadays.
That's like ain't no evidence around
yeah,
me.
there ain't no evidence. Right?
I ain't taking no camera.
That's like taking a camera to a bachelor party. No, sir.
Did you find it more challenging, Charlie? Being outlaw hunting than legal hunting, I guess.
Well, after a while, I was like George Moore. I wouldn't have gone on a free invitation legal hunt if you offered me one.
It's just not no fun at that
It wasn't
point.
any fun.
Yeah.
George said, if I can't outlaw it, I don't want to kill it.
Yeah.
You know, I'll tell you what happened one time. He come up here and saw me at Glen Rose, and he brought his boy with him. Well, there was this place next door to this ranch I was staying on. And I said, those Audads that were in here have got out in the neighboring property. I said, let's go over there where it's quiet and see if we can't find anyone. So we slipped off over there. Didn't see much of nothing, didn't go far. And when we got back to come back into the place I belonged on, George turned to his son and he said, all right, the hunt's over. We're back on the property we belong on.
That's funny, man. And you felt the same way, huh?
Like, shit,
Yeah.
we can talk loud, smoke cigarettes, hoop and holler now. It don't matter.
I was lucky because I had so many opportunities to go in those ranches working, you know.
Oh,
And
scouting mission.
Well, yeah, you don't think I wasn't, man? I was making notes everywhere.
Hell
you
yeah,
know,
you got to.
one of the biggest. But I got 3. There's 3 deer that I've seen that I'd give anything to have been able to take them. You know, but one of them, I'm telling you, that deer could see Tommy's house. He was in his damn front yard, and we were working on a wellhead back in there, and you know I was welding and stuff, you know, and we pulled in that gate, and that damn deer was out there, and he hit. And I knew he was massive as hell. His head was down, but when he throwed his head up, so much did this.
Wobbling.
Oh yeah, it took about 3 times before we get it stopped. And I was, oh my God. Then it's just mass, just solid points everywhere. And hell, I had to go in there and work that day, you know. The whole time I was working, I was thinking, dang, I said, I'm going to come back here with my bow.
I'm going to shoot that deer.
I'm going to kill that son of a bitch, you know. And I'm going, no, I'm not. I ain't getting that damn close to Tom East. I just ain't going to do it, you know. I mean, you're asking for trouble, you know. And I had to talk myself out of it. The 2 biggest ones I ever saw was that one and another one on the east, right down there to it. Of course, now it's all divided highway, but once you get below Rio there, it was that's where the 2 lanes started. And I got a 16-point buck, heavy damn thing. In short times, he would score nothing, you know, but he was pretty buck. And me and Wayne were riding down that damn road, and I said, damn buck, you know, and we said, okay, we'll go down and made a welty. That's a turnaround, you know, and come back to shoot him. My hell, he wasn't there. Where the hell is that damn thing, you know? We pulled back up to where that little roadside park was and turned around and get on the other side, and God dang, he was still right in the same spot. We did that twice.
Well, he was asking for
Well,
it.
no, he was in a swale, you know, and there's sand kind of built up on those fences right down there, you know. And he was in a low place on that side of the road. You just could not see him.
Smart deer.
You know. And when we made that 3rd welting, come back around, and I said, Wayne, he's right there. And he said, what are you going to do? I said, stop the damn truck. I said, it's just another 75, 80 yards, you know. We turned that truck off, and I shoved that gun out the window and broke his damn neck, you know. In the minute I shot him, he hit the ground. Well, the doe took off. And then the God Almightiest damn deer I ever saw in my life. I didn't see him for a split second. He had throws, hickeys everywhere, drops. This thing was massive as hell.
So that big deer you shot wasn't the big deer.
Oh, the story's going to get better. I mean, I looked at Wayne and I said, did you see that? He said, yeah, I saw that son of a bitch is a monster, you know. And he was gone, buddy. There was no getting that damn deer. Well, see, I bailed out to go get that deer after dark. And I come up there to him. I didn't think nothing about it. First thing I do is eviscerate him.
Yeah.
You know, pull the guts out of him. And I drug him up to the damn fence and got his horns underneath the fence, waiting for him to come by and pick me up. After looking at that damn thing.
Which allegedly is a task in itself.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, we got that dadgum deer home and hung him up. I said, would you look at this morphodite son of a bitch? Well, it was the day after Christmas, and he still had velvet on the tip of one horn.
What?
I go, what the hell's the matter? And then when I went to go ahead and split skin him, I realized he only had one nut.
What? So
One testicle. That was it.
that a lot of times that'll their shit is crazy if that
Well,
happens. A lot of times.
I dropped that hide off his hindquarters, and there was 4 of the biggest puncture marks you ever saw. And that, that big buck had whipped his ass.
Yeah.
And that's why he was standing there. He was a hurting, you know. And he wasn't going to get that doe, you know. And all I did was take him out of his damn misery.
Yeah.
But I wanted the one that got him in the ass is what I wanted. That's the one I wanted. Never saw him again. That was a monster. That was a hell of a deer.
So other than deer, I know. Well, I know up at your place, Charlie. You showed us that we seen that picture at that hog y'all shot, and that was a hell of a hog, trophy hog. Did y'all shoot? Anything other than? Well, I know deer and nilgai, but was y'all after anything other than?
Oh, we'd shoot a hog, and the hogs weren't as thick 50 years ago as they are now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then what we did, I'd take a ring gasket out of 8-inch flange, high pressure flange, that big old metal gasket.
Yep.
I always had that and about 2 foot of, baling wire. We'd kill a damn hog like that. We'd go out there, eviscerate him, and stick that in his mouth behind our teeth. I'd take that wire and wire its snoot shut like that. Then you put a handle on that bastard, you could drag him,
Yeah.
And we did that a few times. But most of them big hogs that we killed, I killed with my nephew with dogs,
Yeah.
And I did the biggest one I ever killed was 440 pounds.
Oh my God!
But I killed him with a spear.
That's a big ass hog.
Oh, he was huge. He was huge, and he wasn't afraid of them dogs either.
Well, hell, if I was 440-pound hog, I wouldn't. Yeah.
But it was my nephew's cousin told him. He said, "There's a big summit in this watermelon patch, and that field's called the Lozano. There's a north and south Lozano right outside of Fremont."
Yep.
And because I think Jack was there, probably farming for insurance that year because that was the pitifulest damn crop of melons you ever saw in your life. But he said, there's tracks out there. Said, this thing looks like a buffalo, And we caught the wind, a north wind coming, and we planned, well, hell, let's go around that Lozano and come in the damn south gate so we got the wind.
In the face, yeah.
And I got out to open the damn gate, and hell, the dogs are already raising hell in the box. And Rocky said, just throw the damn dogs down, let them go,
Yeah.
And we didn't go in there 300 yards, and they had him out in the bare middle of that damn watermelon patch. It was nothing's out there. Had 4 of the best dogs you ever saw just circling him. He's like, what do you think you're going to do,
Yeah.
And I grabbed that boar spear, and Rocky held that light on him, and I snuck up around him, and I just walked right up to him. He went, whap, and I cut his heart right in half.
Damn, big 440-pound
Oh,
hog.
that was a big old hog, too.
That was a big hog.
We like to never got that damn thing in the truck. Just the 2 of us loading that thing.
Well, we've heard stories of things you got away with, but there's a story that is how this kind of ends for Charlie. You end up getting caught, Charlie, and this is kind of where things change in your life.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about you getting caught and what led up to it. In your perspective, how you think you got caught?
Well, I just think it was the sovereignty of God. You know, he had designated that to bring it to an end, and that's what happened. I mean, it was like getting set up, but by the Lord. He spoke to me, and he instrumentally caused me to get caught. I thought he was trying to help me get away again.
Yeah,
like he'd done so many times before when it was closed. He wasn't. He was calling it to an end.
Yeah,
and that's what happened. When I heard footsteps below me, and I know the sound of human footsteps in that ranch on them leaves. I've been listening to mine 22 years.
Yeah.
Well, I got up. I walked over there. I picked up my pack in one hand and rifle in the other, and I peeked down in this hole. It was about 30 feet down in there to the bottom of them live oaks, and I heard like 2 more little sounds move out about 20 yards to my right. I said, I thought it was a human. I guess it was a nilgai. And I was going to move. I heard my instincts kicked in.
Yeah.
Get in the brush. Get in the brush now. I heard twice. I went over there and saddled up about halfway onto my pack, and I heard God say, just sit back down 10 more minutes.
Oh.
I needed 10 minutes for that sun to hit the horizon.
Yep.
And I was going to go 4 miles across to the Parita from the Monte Negra. I thought, well, he's trying to keep me from getting out there in the sun, being on me and singing possibly. And so I didn't want to, but I sat back down. I had this little fruit juicy candy bar, and put in another dip. Boy, and I mean, 5 minutes from when I'd sat down, and I heard, "There he is, right there, get your hands up." And I turned around and looked over my shoulder. There's a wall of men. I think there was 8 total, less than 18, 20 yards from me max. Running, guns drawn. Get him higher. I mean, I'm on my knees. I had sat all the way back down on my butt. I just come up to one knee and turned around and looked, and I just threw my hands up.
Let me finish my candy bar, guys. We'll get this done with.
And they ran up to me and stuck 4 or 5 pistols to my head, put me face down, handcuffed me. It was over before I could even think to dive over and grab my gun and run.
And they knew exactly who you were. It wasn't just a hunt.
Operating on a tip.
Yep.
I was set up.
How long was you out there when that happened?
2.5 days.
2.5 days. That's what I thought it was 2.
What were you intending to be out there?
I had set a date. I was going to walk across Baffin Bay at Site 55 when I got enough, But they saw that. They got in my supplies and all. One of the funniest parts to me was, though, after they stood me back up, they gave away the fact that they'd been tipped up because he ran through a bunch of stuff in my pockets, emptied out a few things from Copenhagen, hands this stuff to another officer, and then he goes, "Well, Charles, old buddy, it's been a long time coming, hadn't it?" I said, "How'd you know my name?" This one rookie mouthed off in the back. He goes, "When we found tracks this deep in the ranch, we knew it had to be you." But the truth was, they were looking for me.
Yeah.
And they got in the pack, in a little, fanny bag at the top there, and they got in it and found my wallet. He goes, "That's Charles Beaty, all right." They knew then they had my identification. But, they'd been tipped off by the guy that took me in the boat. He set it up. He was in trouble. He's on revocation of probation.
Yeah.
Tested positive for dope. He said, "I think I can get Beatty. Let me take him over there across the bay and y'all set up on him and catch him." Well, they had it planned to drop me out right in their lap out on Black Bluff.
Yeah.
And I smelled the rat. I mean, I saw the undercover. There was a coat over his uniform, game warden, about 5 docks down on a different pier. And he couldn't take his eyes off of me. And I thought, well, that guy's, something's wrong with that old man staring at me like that. I believe it was Matt Robinson. That's who it was. He set the deal up with this guy named Liberty. Liberty's dead now. He got killed in a knife fight in a fruit stand. 2 or 3 years later, was killed.
Damn.
But he had cut the deal to drop me off in their lap. Well, that game warden watching made sure I was in the boat, and it was a real deal. It wasn't no goose chase.
But you seen him seeing you.
Yeah, I saw it. I said, "Hey, that old man, I don't like the way that old man down there staring at me. He knows something's up." He goes, "I don't pay any attention to my neighbors. I got a bunch of nosy neighbors." And I thought, yeah, he's just trying to bury it and get me to shake it off. And I thought, he's in on it. So the more I thought about it going south across the bay, I said, I'm going to get up early. He's trying to take me to Black Bluff. I'm going to get up quick.
Did you ever think to turn around, just, I'm done?
No.
Because
I always felt confident once I was in there.
Committed, yeah.
I said, there's no way they're going to catch me once I'm in there.
Somebody had to tip you off to get caught.
Sure. So, like I say, they were waiting about 5 or 6 more miles east. I got out as soon as we got to that south shore. I jumped. And I had time to go to a pipeline right away and realized that I'd left my rattling horns in a tree where I changed clothes, get out of them wet clothes, because I had to walk the last
through the
100
marsh
yards.
Yeah.
And I was taking all them waves. I was sopping wet, so I had a bag of dry clothes over my head, a big plastic trash bag. I just changed right into them. Well, I went about most of a half a mile, 700-800 yards, hit a pipeline right away. So I left my rattling horns in that tree back there where I changed clothes. So I just ran straight line through that live oak and got to my rattling horns. And I walked just outside them and was, thumping along there, a little clip, a little light jog. And I slowed to a walk as I got close. I was within 50 yards of my pack, and I just slowed down. I was trying to listen, see if anybody had seen me and was coming in close to me. And I was listening, and I looked over to my left, and there was this huge buck laying down, wide, like 25 inches easy inside. He had hickeys, he had handlebars, he had forks. I just glanced at him long enough to go, I'm going to get the rifle and shoot the piss out of him. I left it at the pack then, so I ran to the pack. And I said, I'm not going to go back that way. I'll just straight line at him. When I topped the hill, I'll see him. And then mesquites, he was just in mesquite. And when I topped the swell, 5 more bucks got up right in front of me. First, just one got up, big, heavy, beer can base 8-point, low downhill deer. And he'd look at me, and then he'd look at that buck. He'd look at me, and he'd look at that buck. He was trying to see what that big buck was going to do.
Yeah.
And them others started getting nervous and standing up and looking, like, what the hell are they looking at? And boy, I mean, here came the plane down the beach, and I go, I got to make a break. There's one tree. I ran up under it, got under it, and when he turned and banked, had his back to me, I took off, and I ran straight, and the bucks all spooked. I ran straight to my pack, grabbed it, picked everything up, and started going across that pipeline, and I looked up the hill about 500-600 yards, and the 6 bucks were running up that hill, and that big one was taking up the rear. I couldn't even keep looking at him. I just had to go.
Is that the one that got away?
Yeah. He got away big time. He was a high 180-something, 190 class type.
Man.
And, I mean, yellow horns from rubbing on mesquite.
Yeah.
A lot of them during their black chocolate horn and all, but this one had the yellow horns rubbing on mesquite. He's laying down in mesquite. It's kind of a favorite thing for him. But like Pat said, on a dry year, those old-timers will tell you, the mesquite bean is all they can eat. It's all they've got.
That's all they got, yeah.
They'll eat it, and then that protein they put on big old massive horns on a dry year, too. And, 2.5 days later, they picked up my tracks. They tracked me down the last day. The third day is when they tracked me 17 miles to catch up with me. Of course, they're leapfrogging.
Yeah.
They're calling ahead.
Tag teaming.
He's moving south now. Put a man on the main road and look for tracks there. So they're using technology to get me. And, yep, he's down here. Come on.
You had no clue about it at that point. Like, you felt
it was
confident.
So windy that I couldn't hear any vehicles in the pasture. I couldn't hear their activity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that was against me.
Yeah.
That's why deer don't like to move in the wind.
Mm-hmm.
They know the fences are low.
Yeah.
They're it's dangerous.
We use it as hunters to our advantage, so they're using it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, man, they gave up. I buried my trail. I went in a big, thick live oak, turned and cut way out about 300 yards and came back. Got up on this sand dune lip where they caught me, but I rattled there. Nice little buck come running up, looked at me, took his picture. He turned around and left, and I sat there quiet for 2 hours, not rattling. I was just resting up for the trip across the prairie to the Parita. They were right there underneath me 2 hours. They told me at the courthouse after my rest.
They were there the whole time.
Gave it up. Walked back to where they parted and spread out. Grouped back up. They weren't 35 yards from me then, and that breaks what I'd watched my back trail on for an hour and a half. But they gathered there and said, let's go back to the truck. We're not going to get him. Mike Fane told me they gave up. They went outside the live oak to walk the easier path, and when they topped the first hill, there I was. I mean, I thought I was hallucinating when I heard them screaming in the wind.
You've been doing it for years, never heard it.
I couldn't believe it. I thought, what the hell? And I looked. I did not believe it until I saw them.
What'd you think when they come running up and you got guns on your head from north, east, south, and west? What was going through your mind? Like,
nothing. The peace of God came on me so strong I couldn't speak, and I was trying to. A couple of times I wanted to say something, wouldn't come out, and until they stood me up and said, Charles, old buddy, it's been a long time coming, hadn't it? My voice had been locked. I couldn't speak.
Yeah.
But it seemed like a dream. It's sort of like so real, I said, there's just one more of those dreams I've had when I've been taking a nap in the ranch or during the off time of year at home. I'd have some nightmares about getting caught. Yeah. I said, this ain't no dream. This is happening.
How was that process after that? Was you done wrong? Was you vindicated? I mean,
the rookie, he mouthed off. He goes, if he don't cooperate, we'll throw the book at him. And Mike Fane just shook his head. He goes, that's not the way we're going to handle this. Yeah. And they were kind to me. They were courteous. They were respectful. They began to try to pick up my pack and couldn't. They tried to load my pack onto one guy.
They couldn't even carry his pack, bro.
He couldn't get under it, and they couldn't hold it up any longer. They just dropped it, and it hit the deck. Boom! They said, Charles, you are one tough puppy. And this other guy goes, and you a walking fool.
But, I believe that was a kind of a purposeful thing that happened. You said it was kind of like divine intervention. You know what? God had a different purpose for you, man. And I like to use this as an opportunity to talk about a pivot point for both of you. We're going to end this on a good note because everyone watching, they're hearing the stories. And, this was outlaw hunting. Times were different back then. This was way before federal law and all that stuff would kind of, change it. These guys have a story to tell today to kind of give the next generation, our generation, and talk us out. And there's a big difference of when they were doing it and when you talk about the laws and regulations that are present today. Charlie, get into a little bit about how now, heck, your proceeds are going to game theft. You know, Pat, your proceeds are going to a great foundation. We're going to talk about how, like, this has changed you guys as men, and you have a different purpose today. So I always say, if we were judged by our worst actions, where would we be today? You guys actually are still driving a different purpose, and let's get into that.
And we'll talk. You know, maybe do a talk about your book.
Yeah, do a plug about the book and what you're still doing, and you know your journey's not over, Charlie. You got part 2 coming out, and you're telling a lot more about your life and your journey and whatnot. That's going to come out in part 2,
and it sounds like part 2 is going to be. It's going to be life changing for a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. But you know, I'm down to about 1,000 copies of the original size, and available endorsements, autographs, and after that, I'm not going to reprint part 1 at all. It's completely turned over to Barnes and Noble and Amazon now.
Nice.
And so they're handling it global. They've took
Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats.
But I do have that 1,000 copies that I need to sell, and this Christmas they'll go.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants those, you know, for a gift for a friend or whatever, a couple of buddies, hunting buddies.
Where do they find it? PrinceofPoachers.com?
Yeah, www.princeofpoachers.com. But, you know, part 2 is fixing to happen this spring. I will have it out sometime this early.
Hell yeah. Excited.
Yeah, it's going to happen. And that's my testimony. Pat knows it. Pat is the one man here in the state of Texas and the United States that has heard what's coming in part 2 in its entirety. And he'll tell you. It's going to be a shocker.
No.
Is it going to be?
I said tell us.
No, don't tell us the story. I'm saying tell us.
That ain't going to happen.
Tell us how exciting it's going to be.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I've got some reservations about some of it because he's going to
ruffle some feathers.
Yeah, he's going to ruffle some damn feathers. Is right, you know. But I know what his purpose is. Right. I know what he wants to do.
Intentions are good.
Yeah, and mine was a different thing altogether. Like I said, Charlie's the reason I wrote that book. Hell, Charlie sold more of those books for me than anybody, you know. But what I did a couple years ago is starting to really come to fruition, and that's my audio book.
Mm-hmm.
And
great audio book, by the way. The narration is just
I appreciate that. That's the hardest damn thing I ever did in my life.
Yeah. I can't even do a voiceover on a video, much less a damn.
Well, hell, we hate hearing our voices on these podcasts alone.
Oh, that's me.
Yeah.
I have never listened to my audiobook.
Yeah, well.
It's been out 2 damn years. I can't stand it. It makes my flesh crawl, but I don't like the sound of my recorded voice.
Yeah.
But that's the future. People they multitask. They want to be able to do something. They want some entertainment.
Yeah.
I had the best compliment the other day. A guy messaged me on TikTok or something. He said, well, this ain't no fishing book, but it's a damn good book to listen to. And I thought, man, ain't that great? You know, I mean, I really appreciated that. And how I did that, it all kind of came together. I was at the gym, and I ran this old boy. He was making a video for a commercial for the gym. Man's name's Alan Campos.
Yeah.
And this guy's day job, he is a concert-level cello instructor.
Oh, wow.
Plays 11 instruments and got more talented. Oh my God. And recording and all that stuff, you know. And I approached him about that. I said, have you ever thought about an audio book? He looked at me kind of funny. He said, well, Pat, words are music. He said, I'm all in.
Okay.
You know? And I give all the credit to him. It was his talent that made that thing come out so good.
Yeah, it's good.
The recording is exceptional.
It's good.
And it was him.
Wow.
But like I said, I want to leave that, you know, to my daughter and the work that she's doing with them autistic children. And I even did that. That's all I tell people about the book. They said, what's your favorite story, Pat? I said, the last page. I didn't write it.
Last page, I didn't write it.
Yeah, and that's my daughter, you know, right there. And my 45-year-old nonverbal autistic niece.
Yeah.
And if I can do something to help, that's what I want.
That's me. That's awesome.
Because you can't take the damn money with you.
You can't.
No, but both of you guys are leaving your footprint here. And not only just on the fishing and hunting world, because, you know, as outdoorsmen, we want to hear these stories. But they're they're one, Pat. They're kind of two different.
Well, that's kind of what I want to say is
Yeah.
we're leaving something on the table. Pat has said it that, Charlie, you asked him to write this book.
Yeah.
For what?
Oh, absolutely, because it's great stories.
It's great stories.
great
That's
stories.
what it is.
It's the other side of the coin.
Yeah. Different
He
perspective.
hunted the road. I didn't, for the most part. I hunted on foot. So it's two entirely different stories.
Exactly.
You know,
And this is going to sound crazy. I'm going to catch a lot of flack for this, but I don't care, man. I want to say thanks to both of you guys for what you did do. And I know that sounds crazy to say, but what it did is create the stories that we love to listen to. I know there's a lot of people out there that don't like it. They don't want nothing to do with it. But I love the stories. I love the adventure. That's what I live for is adventure. Ben will tell he gets on my ass every time we go hunting because he's like, you go too far, you go too hard, you need to chill out. I don't.
He doesn't know there's no such thing as limitations, and he wants to see what's over that hill.
So that's why I love this. I love these stories. So I don't know if you've ever been told that, but thanks for what you did. And I know that shit sounds crazy. It'll sound crazy to everybody listening, but I love the stories. So without what you did, we wouldn't have the stories.
yeah, well, for that matter, you can thank those two police officers. They're responsible for part two.
Yeah.
That'll make a game warden's ear hair singe.
So let's finish with this. If you could tell 20-year-old Charles Beaty, if you could tell him today something that, could change maybe the outcome of your life, what would you tell him, knowing what you know about where it ends and how it, all that stuff? What would you say to inspire all the people watching right now, to inspire them, because there's people that are going to hear these stories and they're going to try to recreate and do those things. You guys actually don't condone that, and you have something to say. What would you say to that person?
Do not try it. Yeah. It's impossible. In my day, there was nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no cell phones. There was anything like
cameras, drones.
Oh,
and
yeah.
all
now
these
they got heat,
satellite,
and all
thermal,
that kind of. Yeah, they could catch you, and it just ain't worth it. There's just not a deer out there worth going to prison.
Right.
No.
And that's what they'll do with you.
Yeah.
Because they've taken the sport of hunting away from us and turned it into Moneyball.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
Yeah,
That's what
everything
it
is about money.
follow the money.
Yeah, it's
Everything.
just Moneyball now.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't have any. I'm not going to say anything as far. Man wants to go hunt high fence, you knock yourself out.
Sure.
You're not going to catch me in there.
To each their own. Yeah.
I'm not going to tell somebody what to do, but I do not suggest even begin to think about doing what I did or what that man did. And I'm telling you, he took it to a level that was way above me.
I want to do that level. Not illegally. I'm not saying I want to, but I love the adventure of it. I do, man.
Charlie, what would you say to somebody, today that's hearing these stories and hearing you on these podcasts and whatnot? What would you say to them?
Yeah, enjoy the stories, but chalk it up. The game's over. It's not a game anymore.
There you go.
The game was played back in our time.
Okay.
The game has been called. It's done. It's fixed now.
There you go. It's a fixed
if
game.
You get caught, you hang.
Yeah.
And it's very likely you're going to get caught.
There you go.
You might not get caught the first time, but then you might. And it's just not worth it.
It's not worth it.
Not for a deer. Pat said, there ain't a deer in the world worth the money and jail time and shit you may get taken with your gun, your truck,
It changes you, changes your family.
Yeah.
Your
it's
life.
not worth it. But that adventure, man, sounds really cool.
It was, and like I said, that's why I did the way I did it. I just wanted to tell those stories of those men before me that I'd learned so much from, and the crazy damn things that they did. And I had more fun writing that book. Now the rest of it, there was been a pain in the butt, but
if they make a movie about you guys,
they'll make it about him.
Who's going to be your actor? Who do you want to play you?
Good question,
My
Jimmy.
son Nathan would love to play the role as me.
Well, your other son, Jimmy Trent, would too. I'm a little old for that now.
Yeah.
You wait. Before you say that, to my son, you better have a look at him. He's pretty stout.
Yeah, well, nah, yeah, he's earned that, not me.
Well, I'll tell you what. Oh,
Uh-oh.
camera's out. All right. Well, that's a sign. I broke the camera finally. Well, listen, guys. We used to do this. We used to do this for fun on our podcast.
Are you doing it?
I'm bringing it back just
okay.
for.
This is perfect.
I think this is a good time to bring it back. We used to do a segment called "But Did You Die?"
Yeah.
And it was a story. It was a chance for you to share a story where you damn near died, and it was in the hunting world. And it's a lesson that someone else could take from it. You damn near died, but damn, I want to hear a story where you're like, all right, I got a story. And it's always something we can turn, whether it's don't throw a box of live shells in a fire, or, you know what I mean?
Or throw a fire extinguisher in a campfire.
Yeah, there's always there's a story that can be shared at any deer camp and all that stuff. And be like, I tell you what, man, there was this one time I was out there. I'm looking for a story like that. It might be in your book, it might not, but I just want to hear a little something from each one of you guys to say, hey, I got something that by the skin of my teeth I got away with this and I shouldn't have.
Pat's got that story.
Yeah, well, that's my story about Uncle Mule.
Okay.
And the man that took me into all those ranches, you know. And he shot a few deer with Wayne, but, you know, he'd rather drink some Crown Royal, you know.
Yeah.
But we was at Freer. He lived in a low company house, and he talked to him, and Wayne got kind of snockered up. He said, well, hell, let's go kill a big deer out 44. And I said, okay. I'm game, you know.
Okay.
And we took out there, and I mean, that was a damn good buck. And I told Wayne, I said, break his damn neck, you know. And big, 22, 23, nice buck, you know, 12 points, just perfect as hell. I don't know what he'd score. He was a good buck, you know. Hammered his ass. And I knew them men were getting pretty snockered, you know. And I said, guys, he ain't going to take me 15 minutes. I'll have him gutted, have him up here, had horns of the fence. Let's get here and get the hell out of here.
Yeah, this doesn't have to take
I
long.
don't like this damn country over there. You know, it's open, the low brush, and guy get up on a little rise, he can see 20 miles, you know. And hell, I went over the fence, went straight to that damn buck, no problem. I got him opened up, pulled it up there and everything. They finally come back, pulled over on the opposite side of the road so I didn't have to drag him across the road. And we threw him in the trunk. I said, well, hell, we're good. We're going back to Freer. About that time, there's the game warden. Oh, shit.
Oh, shit.
They're going to get me. They're going to pop my cherry right now,
Yeah.
you know. And, boy, he flipped that light on and pulled that sumbitch over. And I told Wayne, I said, we're caught.
We're done.
I mean, I'm caught.
Yeah.
All this time, and now I'm caught,
Yeah.
you know. And I don't know. He come up to the car and said, would you get out of the car? And I guess that's when,
Yeah, you knew it was serious.
well, my Uncle Mule saw.
Okay.
He said, you boys, y'all sit right here. And he got out with that game warden and walked around the back of the, car, and he popped the trunk. There's no way you didn't see that damn big old buck there, you know.
Okay.
And they sat there, and I,
God damn heart. Just,
what the hell is going on, you know? And
Can you hear the conversation?
No, I can't hear nothing, you know. And I'm Wayne, he said, I don't know what's going on.
he rubbing his wrist for
I
the
said,
handcuffs already.
Yeah, you know, we're going to the big house, you know.
Yeah.
And then about that time, he shut that trunk. And they walked back up to the car. That game warden opened that car door
For your own.
from my Uncle Mule.
Yeah.
And put his hand. And then when he did it, I saw it. And I saw that ring on his finger.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the same ring my Uncle Mule wears on his finger.
Yeah. If you
It's
know,
the
you
same-
know.
If you know,
It's the
you know.
same ring
Yeah.
that my father wore, my
Yeah.
grandfather,
Yeah.
my great-grandfather
Yeah.
wore. And that man shut that door and said, yo, boys, be careful. Y'all get on down the road.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Will do.
And we drove off.
Wow.
And we were caught dead ringers. But,
But he lifted that trunk. I bet.
They're just-
oh,
I
man.
bet your stomach fell
Oh, yeah,
out.
I just did flip. I knew I was.
I'm done.
I'm done. Yeah, I've gone this long, and now I'm going to get caught because these drunk sumbucks, you know. But that's what got us out.
Yeah, those gentlemen had a handshake back there. And
Yeah,
they-
there was.
Well, that's back when a handshake meant something.
Yeah. Oh, it was different back then.
Yeah.
It really was.
You got one, Charlie?
I thought y'all were talking about a near-death
Yes,
experience.
what we're looking for. That's what I'm looking for.
For Pat, that would be like dying because he's never been caught.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Well, I bet he damn near had a heart attack. So.
Oh, yeah.
I want you to tell him about that time you were swimming down there at Uvalde and you went through that drain pipe.
Oh, God.
Drain pipe.
Well, I wasn't hunting and wasn't fishing, but it was in the water.
Okay.
But, you can still see it right there.
Oh, yeah.
That's
yeah.
a horrible scar.
I see it.
And I was big and fat back then, too, before I lost all my weight. We had a family day out. It was grown-ups, and with some friends. And we was up on, it was actually the Nueces River above there, Uvalde there. And we was going to go inner tubing and then go down to some folks' house where we was going to party at. Well, hell, we all threw our inner tubes in there, and it's calm water, But there was an earthen dam there. And everybody's getting something to drink, ice chest afloat, and all that stuff. And I'm just laying in that thing, my big fat ass, up there like that. And
Just
I
living life.
get up there about that dime, and it happened so quick, I just felt my inner tube just spin.
Uh-oh.
And, man, I'm looking at a 40-inch culvert pipe where they're
Yeah.
bypassing water around
Big
that dam.
horn.
And it sucked me right in it.
Oh, shit.
How much
Feet
water
first.
was moving through this thing?
Full flow, 40 inch.
shit.
I'm telling you, it sucked me in. My inner tube popped,
Oh, man.
and all I could do is just grab the edge of that
Ouch.
pipe. And,
Now I know why you wanted him to tell
and
that
I
story.
figured, this over. I'm telling you, I couldn't get this hand up. The
pressure.
force was too
Yeah,
much,
yeah.
And it seemed like it was an eternity, but it was just seconds.
Yeah.
And I made God, I said, I got baby girls. I can't go like this, And I said, I got to turn loose because I couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
And I went through 60 foot of pipe. And thank God there wasn't a log or something
Yeah.
jammed
Oh,
up
my
in there or
God.
something. And I come out the other side and rolled down that dam. And I got myself stopped. And I looked at
Damn,
that
that's
hand.
terrifying.
I looked at that hand and I went, oh my God, you got a problem there, son, because it cut the flexor tendon in two.
Oh, my God.
And everybody's screaming, they don't know why, because I just disappeared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they're coming up over that damn dam, and then I thought, well, you're screwed up, you're going to have to go to the hospital. And then I started trying to get up, and my damn right leg wouldn't work either because
Uh-oh.
I'd cut my Achilles tendon.
Oh,
Like a
man.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
like oh.
And, it just wasn't my time to go, but
Boy, they messed you up
and
pretty
months,
good.
Yeah, it messed me up pretty good. And, my fat ass ain't been on inner tube since.
I would imagine that.
I just don't give a damn about it anymore.
Yeah. So there's
You can't
something
even take a bath. You just shower
Yeah.
still. Huh?
But that's close. That's one of them times that,
Yeah,
That's
that's scary.
terrifying.
Oh hell! I've been surfing in places in Mexico and get pinned to the bottom and think I was gonna die,
Yeah.
and then finally release you and let you up.
That's so
But
terrifying.
that there was scary. as hell.
Water is I fell through ice coon hunting one time, walking just through a frozen slough, but there was a creek, night we didn't know. Dogs had some coons bait up on a tree. Walking through this, just chomping through the ice through this slough. There's a creek there, couldn't see. It's just everything iced over. Went right into that creek underwater at night. Same thing, scared to death. I could not get out from the ice. My buddy's sticking a 22 down in that water, just looking for me, and I felt it, and I grabbed it, and they pulled me out. And
Oh hell!
good, 3 or 4 mile walk back to the house, and got back to my buddy's house. They threw me in a cold or a hot ass shower. And I was freezing. Goddamn needles. It just felt like needles poking me.
Oh, yeah.
Turn that hot water off. Just cold water. Give me the cold water. Because cold water was warm at that point.
Well, sure.
But that water, that's terrifying.
Hey, too bad my son-in-law in here because that's the fun. You talking about falling through ice, and I've still got that pheasant. Mr. Charlie Beaty mounted that thing. He put the hit on that damn thing. We went up to Nebraska. The kids, when they first got married, was up there, and he was buying cattle. And we could hunt pheasants. And I was stomping around out there, and Levi was with me. He's not much of a hunter, but he was, helping me trying to find pheasant. And there was water standing, ice everywhere. And he said, well, let's go over here. And we pulled up on the road in the truck, and I was walking over there, and I went through that god dang ice. And that water was that deep.
That quick.
That deep.
Yeah.
And it's about 20 degrees. It's cold as hell. And I clambered, finally dug myself, had brand new, but my Benelli Super Black Eagle. Hell, I got it wet and everything too, but I wasn't worried about that. I was trying to get out of that damn cold water. Got up, and he's, "Are you all right?" And I said, "I will be in a minute." And I just turned my bladder loose, and my God, that felt good in my pants. I had just an instant, just warmth. I said, "Oh, I'm gonna live now."
Like, oh no, just go, man, just go.
He loves to tell that story about me all the time.
Oh man,
I did wet my pants that time on purpose. So
you got one, Charlie?
Yeah, I've told this story, but I didn't tell its entirety. But it's spiritual. There's a spiritual side to it, you know. But I was up there at Lake Bridgeport, and we had an old outlaw show up with a barrel net, and we sunk that barrel net, and that barrel net next morning had a big fish in it, and I was by myself, 5 in the morning, pitch black night, you know, couldn't see your hand in front of your face. And, man, I thought, I'm going to get up and check that barrel net while it's dark. Nobody can see me working it. So I got up there and threw the drag and caught the lead and pulled it up, just pulling like hell. I thought a 40, 50-pound yellowcat easy. Finally, I realized the problem was there was an old cedar tree we'd sunk in there, you know, 2 or 3 years before for fish habitat. Yeah. And I had to get a hold of that because it come to me first, and I wasn't going to be able to pull it in without deal with that. So I got a hold of it, and I would drag it across that rail in this old dock this old boy had up there, bear all my weight on it, and then I could drag it level, you know, another 1.5 feet or so. About the 3rd, 4th time I leaned on that thing, it was rotten water rot, you know.
Yeah.
Snapped.
Yeah.
Then I got down towards the smaller part of the trunk, it snapped. And I folded up butt first like a pocket knife, went down through that boat slip, and that angle iron on that first side there on that slip hit me right in the back of the head.
Oh, damn.
Out, lights out, clangs, last thing I heard.
In the water.
Yeah.
And oh, no.
When I came to, I mean, there's nobody there to help me, and no life jacket. And I mean.
And it's dark.
When I came to, I mean, first thing I remember hearing, I heard blah, 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 blah. As I descended, the pressure on my chest increased. Ooh. And it was just keeping me from taking on water, but bubbles were coming out of me. And I looked up above me in the pitch dark, 10 or 12 feet down. About halfway to the bottom, there's about 22 foot of water. And I could see a full image of myself ascending above me, 24 inches or so above me. My spirit had already left my body.
Wow.
And I mean, I said, no. And I started dog paddling fast as I could, straight up. How I could see, I don't know. I was looking with my natural physical eyes and looking at my spirit man above me. And I caught up with it just about the time I hit the surface. And my spirit just sucked back into my body. And I come out of the water just sucking air, choking, gasping. You know, my shoes floated up beside me then. And, you know, clearly I had died, you know, for a few seconds.
Sure.
The separation occurred between life and death.
Yeah.
And I shook it off, got mad. I wanted that fish even worse. And I got a hold of it and that barrel net. And
I shook it off.
Yeah, he had got out. He come out of the first sock. He couldn't have got out if he'd have been in the back sock, but he'd only been in the middle chamber. Yeah. And he got away, and I really got mad then. I was up there writing part 1. So I got in there and wrote it, finished the chapter I had going. Got outside about 9:30. It was crappie fishing. And I hear these footsteps come down the gangplank to the boat dock. And I looked out to see who it was, and it was Robert Wiggum, this guy that was welding cross-member square tubings and replacing them in that old rotted-out dock, the walkway. And he had usually been much later getting there, but he got there early that day. And he goes, CB. I said, yeah. He goes, you all right? I said, yeah. And I turned around and showed him my back. My back had blood all down from that gash. I had a 1-inch gash in the back of my skull. And he said, man, what happened? I said, long story. So I told him, and he said, man, the reason I'm up here early is he said, I had a dream that you drowned.
No way.
What? And he said, they found you between the docks, him and his brother's dock on a trot line hung up. He said, I was wearing a life jacket in the dream, but I wasn't.
Right.
When it happened, I had no life jacket. And I said, what time did that happen? And he said, 5 a.m. And I said, that's exactly
when
crazy. That's spooky.
Yeah, there was something telepathic going on in the spirit realm. But, I mean, I've left my body a couple other times. It's going to come in part 2.
Oh, we got to get part 2.
Yeah, but
well, Charlie, we're going to do everything we can to support you in getting part 2 out. We just want to thank you guys for coming out and sharing these stories with us. You know, it's something to be said that, you know, when you put it on paper, it can last forever. You know, you guys are passing these stories on for generations on beyond you. You say that they can find these books at Barnes and Nobles, and you have a place where they can find.
Mine's on the website. You can get it on TikTok.
Okay.
My website's the same as the name. It's beforethestoriesalost.com.
Keep it simple.
And, of course, the Audible is out everywhere. I mean, you can get it on Audible or Amazon or that fruit company. What's it called? Something or nothing.
I don't know.
iTunes or something.
iTunes.
Apple,
Apple,
yeah.
Now,
what I'm going to do out of this last
company.
1,000 copies is I'm going to, as a donation to Pat's daughter's cause, her autistic school, I'm going to put his book on Amazon and Barnes and Noble.
Oh, wow.
So that's
Nice.
a $3,500 gift, and so that's going to help her cause.
That's amazing, guys.
It'll go
To this
global.
day, you're still helping each other out, and you're still doing good things.
Yeah.
we've been friends for a long time, and that's an important thing.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't have too many left. So
Yeah.
many of my friends have already gone,
We both outlived all our close buddies now.
Yeah.
That's just one thing I want to highlight real quick is we see that what y'all are doing for autism, now you're doing it for Operation Game Thief as well, or have been, is there a lot of people say, well, they don't like what y'all done in your younger days, right? But there's always anything you look at in life that's bad, you will find good, right? So you may think that that's bad, but that has given you the opportunity to give back to good causes. Yeah.
If somebody wants to say something negative about either one of us, what are they doing that's good?
That's what we
Tell
always
me
say.
what your
So
good works are, and then you can run my work down.
It's
There you go.
keyboard warriors, and that's the point I'm making is
Otherwise, shut up.
exactly my man. That's
I had a
where we're
guy
at
on
with it.
TikTok wrote me and he said, "All right, you ain't nothing. Charlie's a prince." I said, "Yeah." Or you couldn't do what Charlie did. You ain't got what Charlie got. I said, "Won't you ask Charlie?" He quit writing me.
Did he know that y'all knew each other?
But I just don't answer that stuff. If it's
Yeah.
positive, I'll always say something. Thank you, or yes
Yeah.
sir, no sir, and answer questions. But if it's just somebody, one of them like you talking keyboard warriors,
There's
I just
plenty
don't
of them.
I don't pay attention to
Yeah,
them.
plenty of
It
them.
don't matter to me.
Well, guys, we want to once again thank you for coming on the podcast with us today. It's been a pleasure having you two guys on. We're going to stay friends, and we're going to keep sharing pictures of our hunting adventures with you guys and all
Please
that
do.
stuff. Just want to close out with where people can find your book.
There's what the autograph endorsed copy looks like.
That's right.
Yeah,
You guys, I'm lucky enough to have a signed book.
I got one.
Jimmy's lucky enough. If you want to get a signed book, you guys reach out to.
I wish I could sign him like he does.
Oh, he's got
I know.
a talent.
Oh yeah, he
My
does.
wife asked if your wife was writing. She was like, "Dang, he writes good."
I got that from my mother.
Okay.
My mother's handwriting was left-handed, and it was incredible. And she used a straight edge, and she'd go back and put the bottom of a Y or a G or something.
yeah.
It was immaculate.
Wow.
Yeah, she was something else.
I've got autograph copy of every printing he's ever had.
Yeah.
Well, you have the original.
Oh yeah, and like I said, they kept together. Believe me.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't trade them for money. It just wouldn't.
Would they
happen.
ever go into a museum if asked?
Oh, I would do that if somebody was serious and wanted,
Yeah.
for a collection in a museum where people could come see them. I would let them have them for that.
Yeah.
Sure would.
We may have a joint museum one day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's. Yeah.
Well,
I
we've
s-
talked about your guys' taxidermy and all that stuff. That needs to be in a museum, someday.
museum.
Right.
with it,
The stuff that I've got of his, I wouldn't trade for nothing.
Yeah.
I'm always poking fun of that big audad.
Yeah.
Because
let me tell that story right quick.
Go ahead.
I come down with the cancer. I mean, it just knocked me flat, nearly killed me the first 2 or 3 weeks. And so for 2 more months, I'm just bedridden. I'm in bed. And I go broke during that time.
So I don't mean to cut you off right now, Charlie, but I didn't want to bring that up, but you kind of did, and I just want to let everybody know that you just said it. You did come down with cancer here a while back, a few years.
Yeah,
and
20 years ago.
23 years ago.
Yeah, 23 years, but you're still battling issues with
Yeah.
it, and these books go a long way to help you with
Oh,
that.
they saved my life, paid the way.
That's I just want to throw that out there.
But I had gone broke within a couple of months of not being able to work. And Pat knew I was ill. And a load of the tanning I had at the tannery came due. and it was for $2,200. And his dad and his nephew's mountain lion life size, and a bunch of other exotics from the Hartsville Ranch, they were in that load. And the tannery lied to me and said, "We're going to sell those. We've already started selling them." They wanted their money, and they didn't understand my illness. I called Pat and I said, "Pat, you need to go over to that tannery in Conroe and pick up you and Rocky's stuff. Get your mountain lion for him and your dad." I had dad for Ted Nugent in that load. I had some irreplaceable exotic capes, red deer, black buck, pallid deer, dad, you know. So he said, "What do you owe on it?" That's $2,200. He said, "I'll go over there and pick them all up tomorrow and pay them cash." And he went in there and threw the cash down on them. They said, "Well, we don't understand this. What are you doing about it? What's your concern with this?" He goes, "You don't understand. Me and him are lifelong friends." She said, "Well, why are you letting him do your work? Your taxidermy, he's broke." He said, "He's ill. You don't understand it. He's come down sick. He don't know what's wrong yet." And he said, "Besides that, nobody does my taxidermy work but him."
Pat went in there with that big dick energy.
He paid them off. He loaded the skins up and drove them to me.
Look at that, man. That's a good buddy,
That's
man.
a real friend.
That's a good buddy, man.
And that's what's so cool. Y'all just said y'all hadn't seen each other in a couple of years. Same. You don't have to. But when you see each other,
we talk a couple times a week.
Yeah.
But when you sit down, it's just like hell.
Pick up
it's just
where you
like
left off.
yesterday. Yeah.
Well, that's like I said, that's lifelong friends. you know.
Camaraderie. I love it.
He called me. He said, "I need you." I'm here. There I'm coming. You
Here I
know.
go.
Well, we sure
what
did
you
have a
do.
damn good time with you guys today. Do you guys have a good time with us?
I did. I really enjoyed visiting. I had got a chance to be with my buddy Charlie and everything, and meet you guys, and I appreciate it very much.
Yeah, double word meaning here, double connotation. This is one for the books.
Well,
Speaking of books, don't forget the books.
yeah. Jimmy, can you sign us off? My camera don't work, man.
Your camera don't work. All right, hey, thanks for joining us. We want to say thanks to Pat Lane and Mr. Charles Beaty for coming down. These two men right here I've heard stories of my whole life, and so it's been an honor to sit here with you guys. And
Been my privilege.
we hope to see and do this again. We know you got some stuff coming up this weekend. Where's that at, real quick?
Yeah, it's between Fremont and Falfurrias. It's the Texas Grub Wagon.
Texas Grub Wagon. So if you want to see Mr. Pat Lane, he'll be out there this weekend. You have any events or anything coming up, Mr. Beaty?
Not anytime soon.
Not anytime soon. We'll see if we can
See what we can do to help that out.
But other than that, check us on the next one. All right, peace out, guys.